All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Juice is Loose Opinions. Um, Retro Death's bitch ass is at work. Clocked it's bitch ass is too tired. Robert's hanging with this girl. T's drowning in the tears of Xbox. Terrell's out selling his Xbox Series X, trying to get $100 for it. He's struggling. Yeah, so it might just be me. Sandstorm, who knows? His wife's probably got him by the balls right now, telling him he can't be on another podcast. So it's just me. It is like the good old days. So yeah, hopefully somebody throws a blue colored life preserver to T as he's drowning in a sea of green. And he can join us. And Terrell, he's at that pawn shop trying to get some money for that Series X. So I'm gonna start by just talking about Resident Evil 4 remake since I beat it yesterday. 24 hours of game time according to the save file. It's definitely uh, the longest Resident Evil game, I believe. Oh, how much you get for your Series X? I tell everybody you're at the pawn shop.
How dare you? No, not listen. It's still. Besides, I have to finish Resident Evil on it. All right, I already bought the game. The fuck. I can't give it up yet. I gotta at least beat that in Elden Ring before I can be like, oh, now I'm gonna sell. Also, they wouldn't take it. They said there's gonna be no future good games on it, so it wasn't worth the money. Fucking asshole.
I don't know if you heard that, T. I said Terrell was at the pawn shop selling his Series X, trying to get 100 for it.
Yeah, that'd be a lot. I'd be excited if I got 100 for it.
Man, cut that bullshit out, man. Ain't that serious.
But yeah, I was just talking about Resident Evil 4 while I was waiting for you guys. I finished it 24 hours. I think that's on a first playthrough. That's got to be the longest Resident Evil game. I don't even think the original GameCube version was that long.
No, it's like 15 hours, I think.
But I will say,
is that just because it's harder?
I kept restarting. It's very trial and error. I kept restarting sections. Like this one section, I bet I restarted it like 15 times. Because I was a little bit low on certain ammo. And I'd mess up like the first shot. I'd be like, all right, good shot. It's, you get what's it called? The scope that you can see the weak points on these stupid enemies. I don't know if Terrell's gotten there yet.
What, how do they, like, what kind of enemies?
It's just a big, dumb looking, like, that unkillable enemy, and you need this scope that shows their multiple
Oh, no.
spots.
No, I haven't.
So I'd shoot it, and with my rifle, and, like, oh, yeah, killed 2 in one shot. And then I go to shoot the third spot, and it takes, like, 5 fucking shots to kill. I'm like, what the fuck? So I restart, and I did that about 10 times, and then finally I got the first dude in 2 shots, and then the second one in like 4 shots. And I was like, so a lot of the time was spent just like, if very trial and error, almost like a Splinter Cell game was for me, the Blacklist.
So I've already hit a point somewhat similar to that. I think it's chapter 7 when you first get into the castle and you have to destroy the cannons that are firing at you while the zombies are like attacking, or the Ganados are attacking you.
Yeah, that part was tough.
And what trips me out is you do that, you enter the castle, then they throw another swarm of Ganados. Then I finally meet that one that I had seen in like old RE4 footage, the one that is like blind, and if you hit, and if you have to do noise to attract it. I'm like, damn, okay, take his dumb ass out. All right, cool. Then you get to the section where you have to like get the gear and turn the I don't know if it's oil or sludge or what is it. What's tripping me out?
Protect Ashley.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, this is all one fucking chapter. So by the time I got to the end of the chapter and Ashley's like runs off, I'm looking at my supplies and I'm like, fuck, I ain't got nothing left.
That's why if you pay attention, the upper left corner, you get this little circle that tells you it's a save point. I just kept reloading the section over and over and over.
Oh, really?
Which kind of feels like cheating, because in the GameCube you didn't have that luxury. I don't remember. I don't think you did.
Oh, dude, I it's on stream. The way I finished that section with Ashley, I was down to like my last 5 bullets.
Damn, dude.
I was shooting, and then I remembered. I'm like, oh fuck, Ashley can't defend herself, and here comes the dickhead. There's like one guy left. You'll see it on stream. I'm like, fuck, I got a grenade. Ah, and it didn't hit, but it fucking got close enough to knock the dude down. I went, bitch, run, run, and luckily she doesn't run all the way back around. She'll just jump off the ledge. I'm like, holy shit. So now I'm in the process of the next couple chapters getting my items back in order, because fucking that was
it was almost like what's his face doing the Mario 64 save, reloading. Obi-Wan, because
that saves.
I forgot about that.
I wouldn't say it's like I'm not like proud of it, but at the same time, like, because of the fast loading and the fact that it lets you do that, you just go back to the autosave. Like, I did that. The Last of Us is built around that mechanic. Reload and counter. If you're like struggling and you fuck up, you like reload and counter, start, it's not like start from the beginning of the chapters, just reload that specific encounter, and that's how it worked using the autosave. And so I just, like, if I had like I waste a bunch of bullets, start down X, up X, reload that save file, and I just did it over and over. So anyway, I would say RE4 remake probably top 3 Resident Evil games. RE2 remake it cemented RE2 for me as the best, because the best thing about RE4 in the most memorable thing was that village sequence, which is still intense, I will say. They repeat that type of sequence almost every chapter, maybe 2 per chapter. So you're just doing that over and over and over in this game. There's a few times you do something different, and it feels so refreshing. Some few times where you're doing some puzzles I remember this one, I like activated this little monitor with like a key card, and it felt so Resident Evil how it zoomed in on just the monitor, and you had the noise, and it was so Resident Evil. I was like, man, I wish more of the game was like this.
I'm enjoying RE4, but I very much miss the kind of like it felt more. I felt like finding new weapons and like going through the extra effort to do the extra stuff and being rewarded with better weapons. And if you get the wood and you plank up the walls and shit, when you have to double back through the certain areas of the RPD, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that was a good balance of like, fuck, these enemies are a problem, but also like, I don't feel like I'm getting mobbed like it's something I can't deal with. RE4, I'm getting mobbed on the daily. It's like I'll walk into a room, 16 Ganados. I'm like, fuck, okay, all right, that's fine. I walk into the next room, let's introduce the fucking parasite enemy that like latches on the other Ganados and then
that's from the
them.
main game, the original game.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I never played the main game, so for me it's all new. So I'm like, fuck, okay. Then it's like, and here's this like little maze like area where you have to kind of like figure out where to go while also being attacked. Yeah, I'm like, what in the fuck is happening right now? I will
say, environment wise and enemy type wise, it's very varied. It's there's a lot of variety.
Dude, I had some glitches though. I
didn't have any.
I'm gonna show you after we're done streaming.
Not to sound like Robert, but I honestly didn't see one.
No, dude, I played chapter 8 yesterday on stream, and for whatever reason the water texture would not load. So it looked like I was walking on top of a fucking mirror. And then if you went to any like giant body of water, you could see where the actual graphical effect of the water would like cut off and push back out. I'll see you. Someone did like a 30-second clip of it. But I was like, Jesus Christ. And then I went, that's the power of the Series X. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
I haven't heard of any like in any PC. Well, PC had some issues again with the being demanding with VRAM if you want to run at like 4K. But other than that, there wasn't like major glitches or anything. But I will say it's a great game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually started it again, and I got to just before you rescue Ashley on like without saving, without using the typewriter, and because you get all your equipment, you start with all your equipment.
Oh, it's like New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I wish. there's that one minecart section that was really cool. That felt like fresh. Obviously the boat section, which is never was my favorite with the unlimited harpoons. The it's like what show or movie was that where somebody or game where you upgrade. Oh, it was God of War Ragnarok. You get this ability where you can from one thing it can recreate. Can you mute that?
I can mute myself on that one.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I didn't see
so
anything.
Distracting. What the
fuck? Yeah, I'm like, what's happening? And then
I'm
a little.
I will say,
and this doesn't go away, by the way. Like I go to like a completely different area. I come back.
You didn't reboot. You didn't reload your save.
I thought it would just kind of disappear once you walked into the next area. No, it does not. Like, yeah, here it is. Wait, see, you can see the fish.
That's called ray tracing.
You can see the fish.
What mode are you running in?
What the
performance.
Do you have the hair strands on?
No.
Fish is swimming on the concrete.
Did you turn off chromatic aberration?
Wait, is that why is there water there?
Because it is water. It's technically I'm in water, but like the way the game is.
Did you just pop that fish?
Wait, listen, food, man. Man gotta eat.
I will say Capcom has a bit of a history with the PS4 version was always the more optimized of the last of 2, 3 remake, and
you can see you can see part of what the actual water texture is.
That's weird.
So I don't know why this happened, and it wasn't like anything else was wrong. It was literally just the water texture.
I think you just needed to reload the save file.
I saw something like that in Watch Dogs.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
But
I just wanted to show it.
Anyway, the end boss is pretty cool, and I had so much ammo by the end, like it was just ridiculous. I bought the harpoon bolt gun, and I just kept using that, and then you retrieve your bolts. I saved so much ammo.
See, I tried that. I didn't get anything out of that for me personally.
You just had to upgrade, so it does damage, and then you just pull your bolts out and you reload, and unless you miss.
I don't know. I think for me it didn't. Well, okay. Here's my question: Were you always over ammo the whole time, or was it like a certain point in the game?
Certain point, especially after I started using that, I saved a lot of my handgun ammo.
Okay, gotcha. Because the handgun's been kind of my saving.
You weren't shooting the barrels and stuff, were you?
Yeah, well, yeah, the explosive ones, yeah.
No, the stuff with items.
No, because you can walk over and just kick them.
All right.
Yeah. So my main issue is more so, I think, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do this, but I have a habit of trying to clear out rooms. So like, almost every major area so far I've gone through, I've cleared out the area. Like I've killed everything, and I don't know if you're supposed to.
The only time I left some enemies, whereas I went back. I got the treasure map, and I was like, oh, there's treasure. And it was those stupid spiders that crawled on their back, those insects. Yeah. And there was like 4 or 5 of them in a room, and there's no way you could get to the insects first, which only take like 1 or 2 shots. But once they latch on, it's like 10 handgun shots each. It's stupid.
The one time I didn't realize the flash grenade was really good against those. I just tried it on an accident.
It works on when the tentacles come out. Instant kill. But overall... Yeah. I really enjoyed it, and once I turned that chromatic aberration off, the game looked a lot better. And I gotta say, I think Ashley in this game might be my favorite Resident Evil girl now. I think she's number 1 for me.
That's a ballsy statement, sir. The fuck?
That's bold.
You know, maybe if you go back to like. What Jill was the best? I liked her in 3 remake, but like I feel like
I don't like that game.
Even in Revelations, I think.
I thought you would have picked Claire, honestly.
I mean, Claire has qualities too, but actually Ada's. I would say Ada's character model in this is probably just objectively speaking the most attractive Resident Evil character they've ever made, just because of how good she looks, like from a technical standpoint.
Yeah.
The voice actor Veronica remake.
Oh,
yeah, I gotta say,
we don't know that exists yet. Chill out, bro.
I don't have much hope for a Resident Evil 5 remake because of what they doubled down on the action in 4. I kind of hope they would keep it more towards the survival horror, because if they just do straight up
It's the most.
Well, to be fair, 5 could go the opposite direction and be more horror focused.
If they just don't make it co-op, 5, figure out a way to change that. Make have some co-op, but don't make it rely on, or not co-op, but have an AI companion or something. But
yeah, arguably the AI would be better now.
I would hope that they would
technology wise.
And I never played that all the way through. I played it might have been just the demo.
What about Revelations? Did they remake that too?
Well, technically, it was remade from the 3DS.
Whoa. It was more ported.
It was up-resed and ported.
I didn't care for that format with the chapters and switching to different playable characters, but I don't know. I don't know. I got to the end and I had almost no ammo. I couldn't even beat. I don't know if it was the final boss or one of the late bosses. I didn't have any ammo, and I was just like, I was screwed.
That game is very stingy.
I would have had to start over. RE6 remake. I mean, with their track record, they could make a good game, hopefully, out of it.
That's the thing. They could.
I was like,
actually fix
RE6 wasn't a bad game. It was just a bad RE game. I feel like people.
But why wouldn't Bravery 5 be?
I disagree. I think it was a bad game.
Damn.
Code Veronica was before 4, so I don't know why we're worried about it coming.
I think because people want
before 5. Like it was already passed. It already passed the order.
Yeah,
people still
they're
want
already all out of order. They started with 2.
Honestly,
yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do 1.
Honestly, they could have done the
0.
They could do the original with the full 3D remake.
That would make more sense.
But
it's going to be hard to. Well, especially the GameCube remaster. That thing, to me, that was perfect.
The one negative about that, I feel like there was too many camera cuts in a few areas. It's like, it was just like, I'm like, damn, just give me 2 or something. Like I forget. There was I want to say a room. I don't know if it was a pool table and a bar. It was almost like a lounge area, and I just felt like there was just a few too many camera angle switches in that. But still, I mean, it's a very playable experience. Not that the others aren't. I mean, RE4 and GameCube and Wii and all that. I mean, you're not gonna really.
Code Veronica is not on anything, right?
No, it's just Dreamcast and PS2. I think they put a.
Holy crap!
Is it
my Dreamcast version must be worth a lot of money.
I don't know.
You mean like everything, almost like the 90% of the other shit you own?
I think I traded it in for like $2.
T potentially. T don't like the.
I'm sitting on a gold mine.
You literally are in the position to pay off like a house.
What's that one game that's really available?
Chilling.
You were talking about. You have like Game Boy game.
Oh, Castlevania Legends. That thing is like worth over $1,000. It's nonsense.
I don't ever want to hear T talking about I'm hurting for cash. Like the fuck. This man literally
Have you heard
sitting
me
on.
talk about I'm broke?
No, you won't ever. Your kids' college fund has been set up for years. They just don't know it yet.
We eating over here. We eating.
Hey, shut the hell up, bro.
I just want to address RJH said Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0 needed remakes before 4. I mean, technically, yeah. They could have they probably did need it. I don't know about 0. I mean, that's the only Resident Evil. There's 2 Resident Evil games I started and didn't finish. It was Revelations 2 and 0. Well, I didn't beat Revelations 1 either, just because I was out of ammo.
The fucking escort aspects of that fucking game.
I mean, they've done good work. Then they're still making new games too, so it's not like they're just doing remakes. It's kind of and Village was solid, so. All right, so I figure we might as well just start.
Oh, it's not really that expensive. Only $150.
Oh, ain't bad.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a Treehouse Live on Thursday. Anybody gonna watch that? Why would I watch that? Why don't I just play the freaking game?
Why would they do that?
I think they just want to have like some sort of
one last hurrah.
Yeah, like let me show out for a little bit, guys.
The game's gonna sell well, Nintendo. You're okay. You got it.
But I just want you to know, look at all the other shit you can do, guys. It's so full. Like we don't fucking know that already. You ass.
I'm not watching that shit.
I'll watch it later. I'm not gonna watch it now. I'll watch it.
Hosted by Kotaku.
Yeah. I hope it's not. I really hope it's not like a lie.
Those fucks, man.
Oh my
They're
god.
playing the victim, and then right after they just did a video on leaked, releasing information on leaks from Tears of the Kingdom. Like, you think you're gonna get a
Yeah,
review code after you just post a video
they
on
know they're
leaks?
not. They know it's over. I don't have a problem with what they're doing, other than the fact they're acting like victims.
Yeah, yep.
That's the only problem I
Yeah,
have.
I don't care if you wanna tell people how to
Because you don't
download
have to click
Metroid
that
Dread.
shit. You don't have to click that shit. No, so uh, don't be upset about it.
Don't get mad when the company's like, bro, the fuck.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
That's like me taking money from T's pocket and T being like, the fuck you doing? And he's like, what, bro? It's just cash. The fuck, like, it's just money.
T's not gonna loan me any money. What the hell, man? Why ain't you loaning me
Yeah,
money?
what the fuck?
It's like you steal
I had to
from
borrow
him.
because he wouldn't give it to me. I thought we were friends.
So
It's just money.
before we get into the Phil Spencer stuff, I you know how we always talk about, it's related to that because you always talk about like I don't know if it's the IGN, Xbox and PlayStation guys, they never talk about Nintendo.
Yeah,
They did the same
fucking
thing on
annoying.
the Kind of Funny. Not afterwards, Greg Miller and the host guy, who did a great interview, I will say. They asked the questions. They asked the questions a lot of people wouldn't ask. And they just kept saying, Sony this or Microsoft, they need to have their God of War. They need to have their Horizon.
It's
like,
so weird, man.
what
listening to
about
them guys.
Tears of the Kingdom's coming out in a week, guys? Like, you don't think they could use a Tears of the Kingdom, a Zelda, or a fucking Animal
and sometimes
Crossing?
they do acknowledge them, but it's kind of in a dismissive way. Like,
Mhm.
oh, Nintendo's off in their own corner. They have this market that it's just there all the time. Like, we just went through the Wii
Phil
U.
Spencer said he's
Did
yeah.
you forget about the Wii U?
Phil Spencer said they're in third place, not second place. You know, you don't.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, let's say are we just
don't
not
have-
gonna count that? We don't count the comeback
You
kid.
don't
What
just
the fuck?
have to use Sony's IPs and the PlayStation as
Because
the
I'm
example.
still there is a Sony
weird.
bias. There is a Sony bias than a motherfucker.
Well, I didn't even know
Good
Kind of
God.
Funny had anything
yeah.
other than Sony ponies. I guess they got an Xbox.
I guess they grew.
I knew they had. I knew
grew,
they had.
they're-
I knew they had a couple of Nintendo.
And
Yeah,
I
guys.
gotta
Oh,
say, like I said, that was a great interview. Like, they did not pull the usual bullshit. You know, it's not like they had time for follow-up questions, but they asked the hard questions. I mean, they weren't.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised they asked a hard question to Xbox. They don't do that shit to Sony. If it's
No,
Sony
they
got
don't.
front-
Yeah, I don't.
look,
I've never seen.
I'm not
any
impressed by
other-
that.
yeah, the company you wouldn't.
Yeah, but
have-
if you have Phil Spencer on, there's a lot of channels that wouldn't have asked.
Well, yeah, because they're just thankful for the
yeah,
opportunity.
Of course there are. Like, but
Yo,
remember,
thank God. Thank you for
Jeff
coming to my
Keighley had
channel.
no problem challenging Xbox and had no problem challenging Nintendo for sure. You ever hear him talk shit? He never said anything.
I don't think
to
Jeff
Sony
Keighley in
did.
that interview would have. He might have asked one
I,
of those questions, maybe.
What? You
I
think?
would disagree. I agree with T on that. I think he
Because
would.
even when Nintendo and the Wii U, Reggie was on, and he might have asked a question, but he kind of opened the door for Reggie to give a PR answer, and he had no follow up questions. He just let it slide. So I don't know, but
I remember it very differently with him and Reggie, especially.
because him and Reggie were like friends, you could tell like they had a working friendship.
Well,
Also, Reggie is like low
And
key
it's
the
Reggie.
king of yeah. Reggie diverts like a motherfucker.
And I will say,
and I fuck with Reggie, but
I'll
Reggie
give Phil
diverts like
Spencer a lot of
motherfucker.
credit too, because one thing I never liked about Reggie was his bullshit PR answers.
Bullshit PR.
Yeah, and he beat.
Even
Phil
with
Spencer
the-
was honest as a motherfucker. You got to give him that at least. He was honest.
Yeah, like I'm
Maybe,
just like
maybe too honest.
I was fascinated. I mean, Clocked
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
that
telling
was-
us about this interview. I'm like, no way. I listened to it. I'm like, Jesus, like
It's a lot.
it's refreshing not to have the usual corporate BS, smoke up your ass,
Yep.
nonsense. I don't know how the higher ups at Microsoft and their shareholders felt about it, but
I don't know. I don't know if they're happy about it because I was.
I don't know. I don't know if they might just agree with him. I mean, clearly, I don't think he went out there and said what he wanted to say with no vetting. You know, I'm sure they were like.
I wonder
say this, about that.
if this deal not going through is going to be also viewed as like a failure, even though it's not. I wouldn't say it's their fault, but
What happened?
if that deal with Activision gets blocked and there's no appeal, it doesn't happen, and then they have to pay $3 billion to Blizzard Activision.
Well, that's a fail.
I wonder what the repercussions
Yeah,
of that will be.
yeah. I think they're going to
Somebody's
get
get fired.
Somebody's
going.
Somebody's with a S.
Some bodies are going down.
Yeah, because that's going to be nuts.
And maybe that's why he was.
I mean, I still don't see that happening. I still see them going through with this. Because a lot of people don't realize what's going on. So if you talk about who just blocked them, which was the CMA, which is UK, it was just England. So Microsoft can still say, all right, well, fuck y'all, you won't get Game Pass in the UK. We'll just bypass you and put it everywhere else. They can't stop them from acquiring Activision Blizzard. What they can do is stop them from putting their stuff in the UK. That's what they can stop. They can't technically stop them from purchasing a company, but they can block their transactions and all that kind of stuff that they do. So they specifically block them. But UK is not it's not the biggest market, and Microsoft, what they could do, they could say, all right, we'll just if the EU, which is the rest of Europe, if they say, okay, yeah, we want it, the deal's fine, Microsoft can be like, hey, the rest of Europe has Game Pass, they got Activision, all this stuff, for $15 a month, and you guys are sitting here saying no to your I think gamers in UK would be pissed. I think they would riot over that.
What about just
and they would
physical
be
games?
Pushed into allowing it to happen, huh?
Would that stop the sale of physical games too?
From Xbox? Physical, everything, anything from Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard, they wouldn't allow. So yeah, it would stop physical too, but that would put enormous pressure on them.
So why does it sound like? Why does it sound like Phil?
Because they don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Like, you want to have the deal go through for everybody. So they're going to appeal it. I would say most of their hopes are hanging on EU. I think if the EU blocks it as well, it's probably a wrap because what's the name already sued him. The FTC already sued him. So they have a really weak case. But in light of EU blocking him and in light of CMA blocking him, that weak case doesn't look as weak anymore. Yeah. So I think that's a big, thing. So I guess we got a couple weeks for that, 3 weeks or so, and we find out about that. And if that falls for them, it's probably a wrap. I don't know what they do at that point.
And I wonder what Activision Blizzard does moving forward.
Activision Blizzard is split. They are, and I wonder what they do with Sony specifically, because Sony is the one that really raised all the fucking alarm bells over the deal. So,
but they do get $3 billion apparently. If the deal doesn't go through, Activision Blizzard gets $3 billion.
Yeah, but a lot of their employees are hinging on this deal because they don't like the environment they're in currently. There's a lot of issues with the Activision Blizzard work environment. So they were hoping, because Microsoft is good at that. Microsoft is a well-known, well-liked company to work for. So they were hinging on that happening so they can be free of Bobby Kotick. Because the minute Microsoft acquires him, Bobby Kotick's gone. Mm-hmm. He knows that. He's going to get his golden parachute and bounce. And that's what they want.
That's what my World of Warcraft buddy who plays, he just wants Blizzard's head guy to be gone. He just wants him to be gone. He doesn't care about anything else.
Right. So that's the big thing. And they're allowing people, they're allowing all these, it's a good deal. They're allowing all this unionization, which, you would think, especially FTC would like, under its current political leadership, you would think they would be all for that. But they just say, oh, big company buys big company, we no likey. So that's what it basically is. But I mean, I hope it goes through for those reasons. I mean, I don't really care. I don't care about Call of Duty. But I do somewhat care about Blizzard games. I like to see them release, because ever since Call of Duty got so big, they quit on the Blizzard stuff. It's rare.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And Phil Spencer, that was one of the things he said. He wants to bring back stuff. He wanted to bring back StarCraft Ghost, which I was like, what? Like, that blew my mind. And a lot of gamers really liked that idea, because that was a big game that got canceled back in the day, that people were really excited for. So that's what I care about.
Yeah, I don't think Activision, if the deal doesn't go through, like RJ says, I don't think they're going to purposely make the PlayStation version bad, because that's where all their money is.
No, what they will do though, fuck your exclusives. We're moving on from you.
Yeah.
We'll just give all this shit to Xbox anyway. They could do that.
They're not going to sabotage their biggest money making platform though.
But the deal that they were giving Sony, which is better than anybody, you forget about that deal. That's over.
Bye
Nintendo deal too. We'll never see
it.
We'll never see it run on Switch.
Yeah.
Well,
and you won't see Call of Duty on cloud anywhere because they weren't doing that shit before.
So I don't think it would. I don't know if they would even done this.
Or just Activision games in general, not just Call of Duty, but you won't see their shit in cloud.
What else? I mean, Activision. Remember when Activision used to have a bunch of like varied games that used to come out back in the day?
They have a huge IP list of.
No, I mean, other than Crash, I can't even think of one that they put out an Activision non-Call of Duty game from Activision. Did they do who did the Division?
No, that's
Ubisoft.
Yeah, it's Ubisoft.
Man, that's just crazy. I know Acclaim used to be big too. They just, I don't know who absorbed them, or they just died.
I think it's more of the death than anything.
Anyway, let's break down some of the things that were said and see where the conversation goes. We got two Xbox guys here.
We're
Xbox owners of the Xbox. I don't.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
The newest system I currently own is the 360, and a PC, I guess, but it's not that.
Yeah, you got rid of your Series S.
I had the 1S.
Would you had the 1S?
I got $300 for it with Gears 5. So
that's
I felt pretty good about that, considering it was like $200 when my buddy bought it. It was the 1 terabyte S with it had Forza Horizon, which was digital, so I got to keep that. But the thing that I found, we talked about RedFALL too all we had was a couple leaked early reviews, and then I guess the reviews came in later.
And then the shit show just kept
and without
coming.
It being actually confirmed, I think we were talking pretty hard about, or in depth about, like, how did this happen, and then I watched like actual reviews. Honestly, I couldn't even make it through most of the reviews. The game's so boring. Apparently, the people reviewing it seem so. I couldn't even finish watching the reviews because it's just like, what else can they say after like 4 minutes of saying that there's not much to do, the missions are repetitive, plus technical issues. I don't need to really listen to a 15-minute review.
Right.
I get the feeling Phil said that this one was further along. I kind of feel like it was. I'm not saying he's lying, but I feel like they knew Starfield was a big game and they put some effort towards it, or they made sure, they got help there. I kind of felt like RedFALL, to me, based on what I've seen and people are saying, it doesn't feel like a game that's been in development for like 5 years. Maybe they had the idea. It just seems like, to me, like a 2.5, maybe 3-year development cycle, and then they, it just turned out to be what it is. I was curious when they had that CGI trailer in 2021, was it? How far the game was, and then last year, like we keep saying, what the hell was the game state at that point when it was supposed to release last year?
It was supposed to release last year. Jesus Christ!
It doesn't seem to be much to the game. Like even
that's the thing. When was Bethesda acquired? In 21, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I my belief is that RedFALL was kind of a smaller game being worked on, like a passion, almost like a passion project being worked on the side. Everybody knew about Starfield because, what's his name, been talking about that shit for 10 years probably. And so that was more on their minds, more what they were worried about. I don't think they ever thought RedFALL was a, I don't know, AAA. But they were like, okay, we know the studio, they produce good stuff. We'll trust them to do what they do. We're not going to mess with them. And Microsoft, to their credit and sometimes to their detriment, they're really good at hands off. Like they, sometimes it works out. Most of the time, recently anyway, it hasn't.
Right.
So I think they were just doing their thing. And I think last year was when they started to actually pay attention, because around the time when the game's supposed to come out, and they were like, there's not much here. You guys don't have much going on.
It doesn't sound like they even knew about the 60 FPS target wasn't going to be hit until pretty recently.
Because people, again, if you don't have a manager that's a personal manager that's in there, you don't know what's going on. Because people will bullshit you, and that's what happens at the top of
I've been seeing that at my work
right,
ever since we got
right,
bought out.
exactly. It's oh yeah, yeah, no problem. We're gonna handle this, no problem. We got this, no problem. And you take their word for it because again, they're a storied studio that has done some great things. So you just okay, they got it. And so what do you guys need? Oh, give us another year. So they probably just didn't really dig in to them. They were focused on obviously ABK and also what's going on with Starfield. They knew Starfield had to hit, right?
I feel like I mean I have no idea, but it feels like that cinematic trailer at the E3 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like that was their proof that hey, this is our idea. But I remember I was complaining. A lot of people were saying, "What is the game? What is it going to be?" People saw the studio and got excited. I mean, I'm looking at Bethesda's official YouTube of like all the trailers, and 177,000. The GameSpot the reveal trailer 38,000 views. They had a gameplay reveal that was 656,000 views. I think gamers, and you could say Xbox that themselves tried to make it one of their pillars for this year for sure.
Yeah.
But just looking at the views of these trailers, 198,000 views, 309 the official Xbox showcase, 309,000. That's the entire showcase. They must have known there wasn't that much going to be that much demand for it, and maybe they just said, "Hey, well, just get the game out." But like
they said, "Well, hey, Starfield, fuck, we fudged that. We got to get something out within that window that we said this game." Here's the thing: delaying this game was only going to fix technical issues. It wasn't going to fix the core problems with this game, which is there's not much there. That's just it.
Terrell completely when he did his live stream Friday. I had to clarify. He missed that part where Phil was basically saying the game didn't hit its creative vision. There's no delay going to fix that.
And that happens. That happens all the time. Two-story studios, Rare. They used to have Rare all the time.
Even Nintendo with Metroid Prime 4.
Nintendo, yeah.
They started over. They said, "Fuck it, we're going to start over."
They took the L and started completely
over. So knowing what we know now, what would you have done in that position? Would you have just canceled the game? Another Scalebound game gets canceled. Tell them try to blend that in with their next game.
I guess
take
the bigger question to me. The bigger question is what looks worse. Canceling the game or just letting it come out and be this middling review situation? Because to me,
they both look bad. I don't know which one.
No, I would say
to me, Redfall. I think if it was a passion project, it sounds like something they wanted to do.
Yeah,
I feel like I guess they took
where's the passion? That's the problem. This is supposed to be a passion project.
Honestly,
where is the passion?
Like I said, this feels like a short development, low budget. Somebody had an idea. They started working on it. Who knows who came up with the idea to do that big cinematic CGI trailer to get people excited. It just nothing
here's my main problem with it, right? Like, okay, the game was devoid of any real direction. Like as far as what is this game about? Because you look at the cutscenes and they're not cutscenes. There's like still images of people floating, and it's just like really cheap. And that makes it look like what you were saying, a short window. My thing is, okay, there's not a lot there with this game. Release that bitch with no technical problems, at least. That's the least you can do. Is make sure the shit runs well.
Or release it as a
beta. Felt like
it can be a 6.5. Fine. The game didn't hit with people as far as with the story and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. At least let that bitch technically be good. Like you have to get that part right. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think about doing like an open beta, almost like they did with Grounded? Just hey, we're gonna put.
They could have definitely done that.
We're not gonna have a 70. That's the other thing. This is their first next gen only, next gen no cross gens game, and it's like one of the worst performance wise of any of the games that have come out.
It feels like they took their hands and said, "Oh, yeah, we ain't getting nothing out of this.
This is going nowhere."
And just pushed it out the door and kind of just backed away.
I think,
that's not the right way you're supposed to handle it.
No. To me, it has at the end it has to be like a money thing. They needed to recoup
Yeah, but
costs
they're
or
not
something.
gonna. I mean, it's this. There's not even the. There's not even gonna be the sales of the actual games, or physically or digitally. Xbox has already catered to the Game Pass. So what is it? How do they recoup? Do they think people are
Yeah, how
going to
much money are you
subscribe to
really
Game Pass
making?
for it?
I
Some
think
people would buy it.
they didn't want to so yeah, it's gonna sell something. I think they didn't want to delay it again, and I think maybe why they wouldn't wanted to delay it again is they have a solid schedule, and they just couldn't see where they want to push this thing. It had to be another year basically.
What if they
Because I
just
think
did just put it out as an open beta so that people can play it and give feedback and just if you're gonna
that
work on
that's what they
fixing
should have
it,
done. That's what they should have done.
they should have never released the $70. If
Yeah,
people had
because
it
it just it,
pre-ordered, you just postpone the
cause the
pre-orders, let them play it on Game Pass as an open beta.
yeah, because the vibe I get is that they just kind of they just wash their hands with it. They say it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
But
If it's gonna die, it'll just die
the
out there.
technical issues lead me to believe this is a smaller. This isn't like the full-fledged team that made
Oh no,
Deathloop, and almost feels like they had less people, less money, and because like even the lack of animation, not even the glitches and stuff, just like when you kill an enemy, like a vampire, it's like this generic like poof, they disappear. There's no artistic style to it. But like I said, to run so poorly on PC and Series X and not look that particularly
it's not a
great.
good looking game.
There's
It's
times
not
where I was like,
ugly.
oh, lightings looks pretty good, but
Yeah,
why is like what? It's just the team didn't have the technical talent. I'm saying like Unreal Engine 4 is the culprit for a lot of bad PC ports lately, and this is another one. But for the fact that the Series X and Phil was mad about the 60 FPS false advertising. He brought that up multiple times. You could tell that really bugged him
yeah. He
because
was
it was a
pissed about
problem that could have been fixed if he would have known sooner. Like you said, people were like, "Oh yeah, it's fine. The game's running good." Because I think it says on the box, if I'm not mistaken, 60 FPS on the actual physical retail box.
it. Yeah,
And
they
it's
expected that
how is
again.
it going to hit that when?
Manager's bullshitting the big guy, man. Yeah, we got it, man. No problem.
So
We got
he
this.
seemed pretty annoyed by that, and said if we would have just found out, the coalition's basically helped engineer Unreal Engine 4. They've
Right.
created things for Epic for Unreal Engine 4 for other games to use. Like
So I
they
expect Gears to look not nasty. I expect that game to look nasty when it comes out.
Gears 5, I mean, they did that patch and I
Hmm
mean, looks way better than Redfall. Like,
That's not saying a whole lot, but yeah,
yeah. But you could just tell he was bugged by that. Also,
yeah.
he reiterated something I've been saying for a long time. Digital Foundry, I got to give them credit. They've been calling for more gameplay, less CG trailers for especially Xbox. Anytime you see CG, I don't care who it is. I don't. It's like, okay, what's the game? You know, next time I see
Yeah.
it, you better show me some gameplay. And
Right.
he sounded like that was finally got through. Like, hey, we got to show the actual game people are gonna be playing when they have the controller in the hand. The console version, that's our biggest market, and be open about what they're seeing. And 60 FPS, 30 FPS, running on PC, running because you just got they did an IGN preview like a month ago, and it was 4K 60, and it was running on PC, and it's like I agree, and I know Clocked It said something along the lines like he don't, because I was like at least I think Sony learned their every time they have a video out at the bottom you'll see captured on PS5. Well, they just did the what's that MMO that they just showed off. I don't think it's not just Sony, but it's that really big scale like high quality graphics MMO just got shown like 5 days ago, and at the bottom it
Oh
said
yeah.
captured on PC, not all images representative in game. I'm like, I appreciate that. As soon as I saw that, I turned it off because I don't care. If that's not what I'm gonna be experiencing on the system I own, then I
Yeah.
don't
Right.
There's no
care.
point in watching it. I got you.
So I
Right.
think this showcase coming up in June, I think there's no way Phil lets CGI bullshotting happen, and
He can't at
there's
this
no
point.
way.
He
Like
just
that
can't.
Contraband last year, wasn't that last year? at E3 was a CGI going through a trailer. Okay, what's
like,
the game?
Like that's nothing. I don't. That's not a game. That's
What's
a
the
CGI
point
trailer.
of showing that? Because now you're waiting a year until you might see like footage, and then you're like, oh, it's that. Oh, it's a real time. It's a card based. It's a turn based card battle game or so. You know, who knows? It probably. I know it isn't, but I'm just saying it. They could pull something completely off. You know, that you didn't expect, and then you're disappointed. Before you wouldn't have if you just revealed the game when you can see it. Diablo 4. What about that, Sandstorm?
I think he's answering their big RPG, but that's not it.
No.
Oh.
It's on PlayStation. It was
on. It looks like Monster Hunter Cross. That's the one, right? The one that looks like.
Oh, I know.
It looked like super like high quality. Like I don't know how even a 4090 GPU is going to run the game. It's probably Unreal Engine 5. And it was on PlayStation's official. It started with the PlayStation logo.
Right.
Hold on.
So either they have the rights to it or they have.
I don't think it's
marketing
exclusive.
rights.
I don't think...
Odyssey.
Yeah.
They probably have marketing right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we're
well,
or maybe they don't. They may not have marketing rights. I don't know. They just have.
I mean, knowing Sony, they
had to made a deal.
They might have had the
reveal it. You know.
Yeah, they might have had the reveal. 2.1 million views. I mean, it looked incredible as soon as I seen that captured on PC.
Yeah, then you just stop caring.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care.
Oh yeah, because you know what you're looking at.
I want to see
not what you're.
Like, I want to know what I'm actually going to be seeing when I play the game. You know.
Yeah.
And
why is that so fucking hard?
I think if Phil, he seemed pretty adamant about that happening. So if they don't, then you know, he doesn't have control of that. Then you would think he would. You know what? You can tease like. I guess if you wanted to, like, hey, we got a Gear 6, you know, you could do a tease. They did it for Metroid Prime. Tears of the Kingdom, you could argue.
You can do that for pre-established IPs.
There was a pretty...
You don't do that for new IPs.
Yeah, for new IPs, it's stupid. For established, you know.
Yeah.
One of the questions the guy asked him straight up was, hey, you know, where's Avowed?
Wait. You say you can do that for... new IP?
Established.
No, established.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, to me, if it's a new IP, it needs to have footage.
It's stupid.
Right, I 100% agree. Thank you. Yeah,
it's stupid. So the guy asked him. He's like, all right, you know, you guys showed some games while at the 2020. Where's Avowed? Where's updates? We got, I don't know, Fable was shown then. State of Decay 3. He listed all the games, and he did confirm that you will see some of them plus new stuff and it's like, you know, obviously, but I think it's a lesson in Nintendo, you know, has kind of learned this generation with the Switch, with Bayonetta, with Metroid Prime 4, with Breath of the Wild 2. They showed those too early, and it's, in the end, if you deliver a great game and Tears of the Kingdom really came around with the marketing. The trailer's got almost 10 million views, the final trailer. I wonder what the previous trailer had. I'm going to guess less than half of that. But it does suck when you go years without any update. You still don't know what the game is. You know, we thought we'd see every E3 after that. We're like, all right, Breath of the Wild 2 might even be out. Might come out in 2021. Might come out in 2022. We were saying that. And then they finally show it. And yeah, it sucked. Now we're excited, but you know, there's that lull period. So
I think the reason why it was worse for Xbox is that, like, in Nintendo it was a problem, but like we were still getting other games while that was happening. With Xbox, it felt like every major title we're sitting there waiting for some sort of update, and then you look over and you're like, well, what's actually coming out? And it's like these, like, I'm not gonna say low budget, but they're just not like, it's none of it's like excitement worthy. Like, it's here's a cool game here, here's a cool game there. Oh, well, this one didn't do well. Oh, well, here's Grounded. Oh, here's Hi-Fi Rush.
Here's
but like,
oh no.
Yeah, like you would get some sort of like kind of game, like a game that's cool, but it's like and I think it kept happening. And then the games we were getting that were the big high-profile games, something was fucking wrong with them. Forza is the only game I think nothing was wrong with.
Forza Horizon 5 was
go ahead.
I'd say Forza Horizon 5, I mean, Playground knows what they're doing. Now, my complaint was that it's just the same formula in a new setting, and it kind of felt a little repetitive, but still, quality game, no technical issues, gorgeous. It's a fun game. I had a lot of fun playing.
I love racing games, but at the end of the day, it's a racing game. You know, it's not a game that's going to excite people because it's a racing game.
Forza Motorsports. I mean, it already looks like it's going to be gorgeous amazing. Looking. I mean, that was probably PC footage. But Gran Turismo 7. Gran Turismo was a very popular franchise. I know it's seen downside, but even with the, had issues and stuff. But still, that's not a mass market type game anymore.
Nobody sits around and talks about Gran Turismo.
Who had when bragging about PlayStation's lineup last year, no one added GTA 7 or GT 7, I should say. I mean, some people might have, but I never mentioned it. They want to make that list.
I
never mentioned it.
You add it, but you don't.
Exactly.
But it's not the game you bring up.
I think Forza's a higher tier than that.
The problem is that with Xbox is that it wasn't like, okay, fine, Forza's cool, whatever. But that was like the only high-profile release that was just had no real issues other than kind of repetitive. But like in terms of the quality of the game, you were like, this is absolutely what we expected. And then you get over to Halo, and I'm just like,
no.
The multiplayer.
No. Halo, the core game of Halo, fantastic.
It's got an 87.
No. I'm not saying that.
I'm going to get to where you're going.
Okay.
I just want to say that because people keep saying Halo sucked. Halo did not suck. Halo was fantastic. It deserved its score. Okay. It felt like Halo it felt like the first time I played Halo on Xbox, the original Xbox. The mechanics of it, fucking perfect. The problem is, go ahead.
They didn't support
I'll give it to you.
It felt like the game wasn't supported like at all. And what hurts is that regardless of how people feel about Halo nowadays, that's still like when you look at Halo, that's Xbox. It's like It's like looking at Nintendo and going Mario. Like that's what you do. You don't fuck up that game. And then when I say fuck up, I don't mean in terms of like the quality of the core game.
Right.
I mean in terms of the entire experience of the game. It's like
from Halos.
Yeah, it's like
Halos. I mean,
your lock-ins, like regardless of how we make jokes about it, your lock-in should always be Halo, Forza, Gears. Those should never have any real problems or any issues with post-launch updates and DLC, whatever the fuck. Why is it that Forza fine? You look over in the corner, you're like, bro, why is Halo over there?
Right.
Why isn't he out front? Well, kind of. You gonna support the rest of it? And
well, here's the thing.
We got Hellblade 2 coming later, right?
I feel like Halo
on vacation right now, but
yeah.
I feel like getting the single player of Halo is it's probably more important than like Splatoon getting the single player right. Like the multiplayer is what's carried Halo all these years. Single player is what I would care about. And I'm someday if maybe when I get a Series X, I would check out Halo's single player for sure.
It's great. It is great. It's truly great. The only minor issue you would have is that the biomes aren't very varied. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of varied locations.
Honestly,
but you're having so much fucking fun, you won't even really care about that.
I don't know anything other than just the area we saw at the first reveal. Like I've never seen anything other than that style area with like pine trees and
most of the overworld looks like that. With some variations in the architecture and whatnot.
It's crazy
but,
because
you have underground stuff, you have in-ship stuff, you have all kinds of different things like that. But overall,
that's a situation.
You don't have a lava area, you don't have a snowy area, you don't have shit like that. So
that's a situation where the negatives are what people will think of first, because the initial multiplayer complaints were the shit is too expensive with real world money, and it's really hard to complete the challenges. They had random challenges, and you could play all day, and the challenge you needed to complete for your season pass shit wouldn't even pop up, and then the cost of things was like ridiculously high,
and the co-op, how you fuck that up, bro? Like, how you fuck up the co-op?
But
especially when fans modded it and fixed it, and you can't do it. That's
crazy.
Wow.
That's nuts to me.
That's insane.
What the fuck?
All right, so
let's in your studio when
let's talk about, to me, the biggest thing he said that I just straight up I didn't laugh at. I was just like scratching my head at. and maybe it's true. There's no way to prove it otherwise. But he said that he sees the comments. Just release great games. Just focus on releasing great games. And he said that that's not going to help.
Lost me. That's where you lost
that's
me.
Not going to help. Like he goes, people aren't going to sell their PS5s if Starfield gets 11 out of 10. They don't need to sell their PS5s. They need to buy your Xbox.
Yeah, but the goal is just to buy the box. You don't need to worry about if they sell the PS5 or their Switch or whatever, or their PC. Just the goal is for them to buy your specific box. And for some reason, he fucking brings it up, and my brain went, "How would you know? You haven't released a good game yet, you fucks!" Like it pissed me off.
But here's my thing, like. I somewhat agree with. I think he's worded it poorly. Like Microsoft's focus is Game Pass, because they know no matter how many fucking consoles they sell, it won't be enough to cover how much they want people to buy Game Pass. So they want Game Pass to do well everywhere. But you push Game Pass with your fucking console sales first, and then you worry about you get more people in with great games. You get all these people in, and yes, people will start to use it on other platforms when it's available, but you have to get your core platform right first. So they're trying to get to step 2 without
it's like DC. It's like DC doing the Justice League before the individuals. Because wouldn't a bunch of great games help you sell Game Pass subscriptions?
Yeah, of course.
Of course it would. That made
of course. So you would still win, even if you're not worrying about console sales. You would still win with Game Pass if you had better Xbox exclusives to make Game Pass more enticing. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that one answer.
It might be too late in the console generation if he's talking about specifically overtaking the PS5 sales. Yeah, it's probably too late in year 3.
He's saying he didn't articulate it well. He just didn't articulate that point well. Like he's right. He knows that Xbox really screwed up with Xbox One generation, because that's the generation that everybody went digital, started going digital, right? All their digital catalogs started to build up. And so it's hard for you to sell an Xbox One at this point if you're a Sony guy who has all your digital stuff locked to your Sony console. So I completely understand that. But people buy multiple consoles. We've always we've always done that.
And so Nintendo didn't carry over their digital with the Wii.
Everyone had to restart.
Good thing for bringing up Nintendo. Here's the thing. You think, okay, there's 120 plus million Switches out there, right? Some of them are double dip. I got 4 of them bitches myself. So let's say there's 80 million Switches, like for 80 million different people, right? Let's say that. There's 80 million Switches out there. You think all those people don't have another console? Fuck off. Of course they do. A lot of those people have another console. Yeah, some of them don't. They only play on Switch. I would guarantee you 60 to 70 million of those 80 million have another console somewhere. So stop with this. It has to be, we got to bring these people over, or bring them over exclusively. You don't have to be an exclusive thing. Just make good games.
And what happens?
And then we'll get your thing too.
He sounded like he had already given up. And that's what I think bothered me so much. Because I'm like, bro, I'm not even a heavy Xbox guy, but no fan of your console wants to hear
that shit.
And it made me, and I think it would have been fine if you said
shit, bro. That was
somebody said have Reggie run. You need somebody who's gonna kick ass and take names almost.
That's what it sounded like. It sounded like what's that dude's name?
He's almost too friendly.
He's too honest.
And too friendly. He's I mean, I like how he congratulates. Hey, Nintendo with a great launch of Animal Crossing. Hey, Sony, great launch with Horizon, but
it's not good for him. I mean, for his brand. Like, it's cool. Like, for him as a person.
I'd rather have that than the alternative, though, to be shit talking.
I mean, yeah, but your alternative gives you great games, so
But I don't think that stops you from getting great games.
Oh no, that's true.
So what?
You're right.
Great games out,
But it doesn't. To me, it didn't help.
I mean,
in light of where you are, maybe don't do that shit. Maybe wait till you get your shit together before you start.
I'll tell you right now.
It's like, congrats on Animal Crossing, bro. When's RedFALL coming out? Congrats on Animal Crossing. Like, what? now I don't think anyone wants to hear that shit.
He's hoping he can't wait till Friday when Tears of the Kingdom dominates the gaming news.
I really hope
Redfall's gonna be so quickly forgotten.
Can't wait till Tears of the Kingdom finishes burying Redfall.
It's not like Horizon DLC didn't already get buried too, and it's like, that just
Horizon DLC got buried by the announcement. The fuck
that
was
launch
crazy.
trailer was weak.
The funny thing is, I listen to Xbox or podcasts.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Weeks ago they were maybe not. And weeks ago they were talking about, should they delay Redfall? Is it too close to Zelda?
Really?
And one guy was like, man, Nintendo's often doing their own thing. That's not going to affect Redfall. Blah blah blah. Redfall is going to be just fine. Yeah, bruh. I don't know.
You think Phil's gonna be sitting at the Game Awards listening to Tears of the Kingdom nominated for every category, and that look on his face again like last year?
Well, Starfield is a chance for them to.
Yeah, it should be nominated.
So
multiple.
Well,
I don't know. I feel like my problem is that it just didn't.
Unless it doesn't come out till November 20th.
My problem is that
past the cutoff.
Got a release date.
I know, but
my biggest
get pushed, right? Yeah.
My biggest concern is that I felt like if you were an Xbox fan watching the interview, that didn't really instill a lot of confidence in in the brand at all. Now listen, the showcase might come out. The showcase might come out and be bangers, but I'm talking about as of right now, your newest game isn't doing well at all, and your company head is like, well, we're not gonna out console Sony and Nintendo, and we're just in the back like, damn,
I thought
bro,
they were more neck and neck.
Well, here's my counter to that. Here's my counter to.
Go ahead.
Core Xbox fans mostly ain't going nowhere, right? They'll him and haw, which they should be doing right now. But that's what he's saying. He's saying core Xbox fans probably aren't going anywhere until it's completely dire, and core PlayStation fans aren't going anywhere. They're trying, in their mind, expand beyond the console wars fan base. They want 200 million subscribers on Game Pass. They're not going to do that exclusively with console sales. They know they got to do that with PC and all these other venues, the televisions, the smart TVs that will have Game Pass on it, that kind of stuff. And I think he's not as worried when they say stuff like that. It may be true or untrue, I don't know, but they're not as worried. They know one thing that Xbox has been good at is pushing technology in the industry, right? People hemmed and hawed when the original Xbox came out and it was only broadband. Well, I don't have a broadband shit in my house. People were pissed off about that. But you know what? A couple of years later, everybody had that shit, right? So they're good at seeing the future. Except for when that TV shit. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking with the Xbox One. That was Don Matrick. But yeah, they're good at pushing the industry that way. They know these fucking boxes that we have are on the way down. I don't know when that's going to be when that's going to happen. Nintendo is going to have to be pulled kicking and screaming from their consoles, their home consoles. So that's
absolutely.
Exactly. So, but they feel like the industry is going that way. I mean, you just look at digital sales, look at all that kind of stuff. People don't care about physical copies anymore. They know that the future is going to be all these other different ways. I tell you about the kids I teach and how they don't care about consoles at all. They'll play on their damn phones, and they'll get in a little circle in the classroom, and they'll all have their cell phones, and they'll be playing games and having a blast. So they know that. And the thing is, are they too early?
I think they're too early. I think you're right.
I think they're too early.
And I will argue against one thing though, because I see a lot of my buddy. He tells me all this kind of stuff, struggles of Paramount Plus, the struggles HBO had trouble getting off.
Everybody's
Netflix
struggling.
is now struggling. I almost feel like with whether the intentions are pure or not, I almost feel like chasing the subscription service leads to it's going to lead to, if it hasn't already, the pressure of, well, we have to have new content. We need to get so they're paying companies to have their game on there, and maybe that was a factor for pushing Redfall out, even though they already delayed it. I don't know. I just hope it doesn't become all right, we gotta have a new game every quarter, a great game every quarter, which would be awesome.
That's gonna be tough.
But just a new game, a new game. We got to have people. We got to have new, and if that's the motivation, that can be a good motivation as long as it leads to quality product coming out. But at the same time, I think Terrell said on his stream, I almost feel like the focus on pushing Game Pass. He said just basically releasing great games, and that's not the solution for the consoles, but it should be what they're striving for to push Game Pass. So I don't know if they forgot about the game part of the Game Pass. I don't know.
I think my problem is that he's in this position where literally I remember when they announced all those studio acquisitions, everyone was like, oh shit, Xbox is about to go crazy with all these game acquisitions, and now of course I'm in the back well, you got a couple years for you to start seeing really the fruits of that labor.
I remember saying that with Ninja Theory, and they bought companies we thought they already owned, was it Playground or the other?
It was it was and we were sitting, and I'm like, okay, so and now we're getting into that years later, and we're looking for results, and it's getting, and it feels like every major release has some crazy issue. And then you'll hear the stories I was hearing about Hi-Fi Rush when they were like, well, they're disappointed in the sales of it. And I wanted to be like, but you're the one who kind of put it out there in that position in the first place.
But that was never a thing. The one guy said he heard.
Yeah, of course.
Who's wrong about a lot of shit. He said he heard. But I heard from the source themselves say it was a success. And that wasn't a big game.
Yeah, of course.
And it was at the top of Steam sales for a few weeks. So, I don't think that game cost a lot to make. So
I probably didn't.
I don't think they can even value or even look at sales. If Microsoft's going to buy you and they're pushing Game Pass, how many it sells seems kind
their
of
metrics
irrelevant.
are different. It's far as their metrics are how many subscriptions did we get.
Yeah, of course.
After we dropped
how many
this
people
game.
downloaded the game? How many people played the game? How many people finished the game? Stuff like that they can track.
So I don't know how Jeff Grubb came to that.
But it does feel like, I mean, I'm not a game developer. I can try to put myself in their shoes. It takes the risk out of it being owned by Microsoft because of Game Pass. It's like, but they can say, hey, only 500,000 people downloaded your game. There's how many million Game Pass subscriptions? 20, 30 million, whatever it is. Only 500,000. That's a fail. And they're like,
well, how many would have bought that?
It's like,
but the problem is
you miss out on the
problem is we don't know because
we don't know. But I would assume, here's the thing, I would assume on a service that has 26 plus million people on it, if your game is not downloaded and played by a lot of people, that game probably wasn't going to do well in the market on its own. I can assume that because you have a pretty good sample size there.
You just look at Minecraft Legends. I mean, I think maybe that was Japan, so that's irrelevant. I know Minecraft Legends might have been Japan.
Damn.
Sony agrees.
I think Minecraft Legends sales were 5% were Xbox, the rest were Nintendo and PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started that, I was thinking it was Europe, but I think it was Japan.
Yeah.
So
I'm still.
And of course, I mean, where else would you?
But if you put Hi-Fi Rush on the Switch,
there's 5 Xboxes in Japan.
No, I still believe they're going to.
If you put Hi-Fi Rush on the Switch and the Xbox and release them both in stores, the Switch version's gonna outsell.
The Switch version's gonna sell more. Yeah.
So I almost feel bad for these studios that if that's gonna be the metric of success moving forward, hey, you get to make a sequel based on how many people downloaded the game on Game Pass, unless there was a really significant Steam sale or sales on Steam.
I don't think you care. I think as a developer, you want people to play your game. I get my paycheck still.
Yeah, but when it comes to making a second game, if they're like, hey, your game's only downloaded 100,000 times, we're gonna put you on something. You're not gonna be able to pick your project this time or something. I'm just.
Well, how many indie games come out that don't get a sequel because they didn't sell well? Nobody even heard of the game. So I don't think that way of thinking about it is kind of fair, because I feel like if you're first of all, like you said, you're safe. You can make your game and not have to worry about the money of it and all that stuff. And you have right at the bat, you got 26+ million people that are gonna see it top of the page when the game comes out. Fuck yeah! I mean, I would be super excited about that, and I always hear developers happy about that. I forget the one they make this tower defense game. I can't remember the name of it, and they were like super stoked about having that many people available to play your game where they know they would get buried on Steam. You know, they would get buried on PlayStation even, because apparently their store isn't really good to new games either. So I think that's what a developer would think. Now the publisher, that's a whole nother story.
They might also be like, "Man, I wish we were on Switch at launch." I mean, I could see some of these games being like that.
And that's on Microsoft. Microsoft should recognize that, and they've put games on Switch.
I wouldn't
obviously.
be surprised if it makes it to Switch still this year.
It definitely could.
I wouldn't be.
Yeah, that would be a smart move. That would be a smart move.
What was one of the other big statements that caused? He said,
uproar.
He said the releasing great games. That was the major one for me, but I feel
like...
Oh
no, there was what did he say? He was like, I know he said he lost the whole worst generation to lose.
Yeah, the Xbox One.
We talked about that. That was I feel like there was one other like.
Oh, I'll pull up some quotes.
He wasn't really in charge in the beginning of that.
I'll pull up some quotes. Well, let's see.
And it's
I agree 100%.
Oh, here's another thing that wasn't brought up that multiple people have said whether it's true. They said that currently the series consoles in the same time frame are between 500,000 and 1 million ahead of the Xbox One in the same first 2.5 years. That to me seems crazy if that's true. I thought it was.
I think it's true.
I kind of thought it was tracking way higher early on. It was like,
oh yeah, it was tracking higher. I think they ran into another. That's what he said anyway. That they have supply issues again.
I wonder.
And Sony isn't at this moment, and maybe it's going to go back and forth.
I wonder.
The only thing I thought was, I found one thing that kind of reminded me. The whole where he said that he's focusing on like the console.
Yeah, that's what they're asking him about, but making the console priority because everybody felt like second class citizens.
But what confused me about that statement is if that was to me to say something like that and then be like, well, I don't think great games would change. Like to me, making great games is for the console.
That's why I think he misspoke. I think because he obviously he reiterated with the second class citizen thing with the Xbox console gamers. Like, so clearly he was talking about, specifically console wars and not trying to sell or focusing on trying to outsell PlayStation and whatnot. That's what he just didn't articulate well. I just think he didn't articulate that position well because later on he contradicted what he just said.
Because that has to be currently your biggest.
Of course,
market is your consoles.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, what's the point of putting on a box if you're not gonna at least?
I can tell you right now, you give me. I thought Everwild looked very promising. However many years ago that was, that art style. If you give me even like an 8 out of 10 with that art style, and I have to have a Series X to play it, I would have had a Series X, like.
Or you would go get Game Pass somewhere on your PC or something.
I mean, at this point now, I don't know, my PC's getting a little long in the tooth, but yeah,
I just meant
That's the other thing. If I got a Series X, then I might have bought Resident Evil 4, depending on the performance. If there's any issues on one platform over the other, I'm gonna pick the platform that has the best performance. Or somebody buys a Series X to play a game, they're like, man, this controller's actually amazing. I want to play all my first-person shooters on this system. I want to play all my action games on this system. Right. You never know. So I think that they did get away from like the console, and you could just tell. Listen to the Next Gen 720 podcast all these years. Ever since they announced day and date PC games, those guys have been like fighting against that, like. Because they knew what that meant.
They want the console wars.
They essentially would lose. And it kind of goes into what he says, where he goes, here's the quote. But I know some people want to hold us up as being the better green version of what the blue guys do. And I'm just going to say there's not a win for Xbox in staying in that wake of somebody else. We have to go off and do our own thing with Game Pass, with the stuff we do with xCloud, and the way we build our games.
And that's true. That's
ironically enough,
Nintendo does that.
But actually, I was about to bring it up.
Oh,
this is essentially Phil's version of saying like we're not doing what the other guys
but
are
they
doing.
did go toe to toe with Sony with the 360. Yeah, it sucks they lost all those Red Ring to death. They lost all those billions, but they went toe to toe. But maybe he doesn't
and
like.
At the end of that generation, they lost because PlayStation sold a little bit more than them at the end of that. Even after all that great start and all the issues.
The problem is that Xbox never had never carried that momentum.
Well,
they lost it.
They try to carry it with the fucking Kinect.
The Kinect is what really killed it, and
that's what derailed them.
The kicker is though, from what I remember, the Kinect was successful financially. It just wasn't. But
nobody cared.
$500 for a weaker system with a Kinect. Nobody likes it. It wasn't even that advanced. It wasn't like that big of a leap over the previous Kinect.
It was a bad decision to go.
You got this big VCR box. It's lower power than the PlayStation. It was just
the cable plugs into, so you can control your TV.
I'm gonna ask a bold question then. Do you think that the Xbox One for Microsoft, that loss was in a similar vein to when Nintendo lost during the GameCube era?
No,
it wasn't as big of a margin, but
what I mean in the sense of like. It caused a shift in mindset because because after the GameCube we got the Wii, which was like we're just not gonna play this game anymore.
Yeah,
and it feels like the Xbox One. That's when the Game Pass shift happened. When they were like, "Oh fuck, we're not winning."
I never even thought about that, but yeah, that's a good comparison.
Well, here's another thing. He came out and said, "Hey, we're not gonna be the underpowered system ever again. Here's the Series X." Or no, what was it called? Project.
Here's the Series X. Don't worry about buying it, but here it is.
But it was before that, Project Scorpio or whatever they called it.
Scorpio.
12. That's when they announced 12 teraflops and this, and it was all crowd. We're never going to be behind in power again. So it's like, well, why did you bother if the Series S
here's the problem
probably
with that,
the bigger seller?
You're not going to be behind in power again, but games coming out perform better on the lower powered console consistently. Games have been coming out performing better on a PS5 than on the Series X. So all your power means nothing.
Yeah, if Elden Ring was lock 60, didn't have the pop-in grass compared to PS5, which has not even close to, probably more like 40 FPS frame rate, and grass popping in like crazy, like it's freaking Pokemon. Then people would say, hey, shit, I'm going to buy my multiplats. Now, part of it was their deal with AMD, and AMD they're behind the ball when it comes to the graphics card race against NVIDIA. The DLSS and the ray tracing, AMD was like the Wii compared to like the PS4. Like NVIDIA and their ray tracing and their DLSS program was so far ahead of AMD. And then AMD's like, well, we got to start competing. So their RDNA 2, which is the tagline, and Microsoft went all in with them partnering and supposedly have these exclusive features that the PS5 wouldn't have. AMD doesn't have the best track record for that kind of stuff. Their FSR 2.0 was supposed to be limited or exclusive to Xbox and be a game changer. I heard that 2 years ago. Where is it? FSR 2.0 is better than 1, but it's not anywhere near DLSS. Now they're saying 3 could be a DLSS competitor. And so it talks about all this, and then you find out, the drivers at launch, the Series X, none of that was finished. Like that RDNA 2 stuff they really pushed wasn't finished. And it's just like...
Dude, you got guys still complaining about the DVR functions on... It's trash on the Series X. They're so terrible. Like, how is that a problem?
I heard he said in that interview they're overhauling the Xbox UI, or at least the homepage or something. I forget what they were talking about.
Yeah, they showed the new, what is it called, dashboard or whatever. Yeah, looks really good. It is an improvement. Now you got to fix the features inside the bitch.
I guess
I can tell you right now, the PS5 streaming recording is such an improvement over the PS4. It's so nice. Yeah. You hit the button once, it brings up a menu. Start recording, start broadcasting, take a screenshot. If you hold it, it takes a screenshot. If you double tap it, it records 30 30 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever you tell it to record the last, and it works every time. Like,
and Microsoft's supposed to be the fucking software company, and they can't get this software together. What the
fuck?
fuck?
I hated that
on
the Xbox.
I guess my question is this. So if I'm looking at the Xbox Series X as this is our transition and this is our not doing what PlayStation doing. We're not gonna fight that fight anymore, right? When Nintendo dipped in a different direction, we saw what that meant. They focused on how you play your games, and that's where we got things like the Wii, the Wii U, and the Switch.
Yeah.
With Xbox, I guess my question is, if we're not playing the pound for pound situation anymore, is the only difference at Game Pass
in the cloud?
I was gonna say, here's the thing about Nintendo doing that. Nintendo had super fucking strong IPs to do that with, you know.
More than 3 they have, even though people say it's just Mario, Zelda, whatever the Metroid used to be. Now
whatever you want to throw in there, Metroid.
There's a comparison.
And
there's a good comparison that came up that like Sony obviously goes with the whole we introduce new IPs and then we kind of cut off the old ones, and that's how they kind of do their generations. Whereas Nintendo and Xbox are similar in the sense that they both stick to their core IPs for the most part. The difference is that when Nintendo at the very least will either maintain or exceed the quality
and
of
they
their core IPs.
That's exactly
evolve
right.
their franchises. Other
Well,
than
at this point, they evolve their franchises, whereas Microsoft, I think at best usually just maintained after a certain point, and then it just started dropping off for certain IPs.
Well, when
I had to check somebody at work about that exact same thing about evolving, because he was trying to say Mario's the same. I'm like, motherfucker.
Play Odyssey and 3D World and tell me those even feel remotely
That's
the
exactly
same.
where I went. I was like, Mario, yeah, it has similar things in its world and all that kind of stuff, but the games are enormously different. Nintendo has been expertly reinventing that game or that series every time.
That's probably why we don't have a new one. They're trying to figure out a way to make it feel fresh. So first off, Lenny, what would RedFALL look without 12 teraflops? What's a Series S version look like? I've never even seen it.
I don't even want to look at it. I'm not going to check. I'm not willing to check.
Secondly, talking about that, I think Nintendo's equivalent to like the Forza and the Halo or Gears. I think Gears, even playing Gears 5, it's still just very much the same formula as Gears 1 minus an extra like little hub world.
Great game, but overall it feels just
Smash Brothers is the game I would put in that same category.
Smash.
They're not changing move sets of character. You know what Smash is. You play one Smash. You're gonna
Pokemon is a huge draw to a Nintendo console.
Yeah.
You know, even Mario Kart. Like, yeah, they add cool things here, but the core concepts don't change. Unlike Zelda, Breath of the Wild compared to Skyward Sword, Odyssey compared to 3D World. You know, there's massive changes. Animal Crossing, it's still the same idea, but they added a ton of they just added a ton of stuff on top of it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird because I would like to say in recent years we've also gotten a lot of more interesting IPs starting to pop up. Like people, like I still very much stick to that. I posted on Twitter, I think that Friday when I made that stream, that Nintendo currently has a stronger shooter on their first party shooter on their console than Xbox does, and that's not me. That's not me being and people are but to me it's crazy because the one genre that you could give Xbox for a while at least was shooters.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how are you fucking up in your? And I think that's my thing. Like,
especially like, how does RedFALL? I know they let the studio do what they wanted to do, but how do you have a first-person shooter that just isn't like a solid core?
How do you have id Software in your pocket and let some first-person shooter come out looking like that?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You have to go in there and say, "Oh, this don't look good." Id, can you come in here and help these dudes out? Because
that's what they almost need to have, that Nintendo effect where Monolith helps, Retro Studios helps.
I'm surprised they don't do
that. He said
already,
that for Starfield, they're doing that.
Yeah. I don't think they were completely set up for it yet. They're requiring all this shit.
I remember.
Now they have to acquire systems to make sure these things work like that.
I remember the other thing that I wanted to that he said. He basically said, "I'm optimistic. We got some exciting things, but you have no reason to believe me. Until you have the controller in your hand and you're enjoying the game, you have no reason to believe me. So I'm not gonna sit there and try to hype you up. Now, that is the shit you're not gonna. Reggie would have never said that.
No, never.
No, never.
Iwata was pretty honest, but he ain't gonna say that. Like
he wouldn't say that.
They admitted flaws. They admitted bad choices or things back in the day, but like
he apologized. You know that was a meme.
But what feels that's a ballsy thing to say
because Forza doesn't have a release window.
It's what I've been saying. It's 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
It's 100% right. Of all the talk, all the studios, none of it matters until I have that fucking game and I'm having that great experience in my hand.
My question: where's Muhammad in all this discussion? We're talking Xbox all podcast.
Dude ain't here.
Remember last week? He's like, "Oh, wait till Starfield.
He was in my stream, all right. He was in my stream Friday.
Wait till the showcase." Like, bro, man, like, so
my thing is
still needs to be fantastic, though.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There's no there is no reason to be excited right now, based off of our.
So here's the question, though: if Avowed is 3 years off or 2 years off, do you show it? Do they have to show it?
I would
no. Not now.
If Hellblade's not coming out till late 2024, you have to show it.
I think you still show Hellblade. I think
that's close enough to where you can justify that one.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we've already seen it like 3 fucking times.
I want Perfect Dark. I don't know if they're gonna show that shit, but I want to see Perfect Dark.
You know, everything that's happened leads me to believe the reports from former employees about it was Perfect Dark, and I don't know if any reports came out about Fable, but I know Perfect Dark, there was a while with last year sometime. There was a lot of discourse saying like this game has no direction, and
it had a lot of ideas, but no.
They keep changing it and then going back.
That's concerning because it feels like they don't have a.
But that's why they brought Core in. They brought not Core. Crystal Dynamics. They brought Crystal Dynamics in to bring some direction and say, "Hey, we need to make a game here." Or at some point, all these ideas are cool.
They got 2 games to go off of, one bad, one pretty highly respected. And it's like, you know, you almost just gotta do what Resident Evil did with the reboot. You almost just gotta take what was there and throw some amazing graphics on it, upgrade it, massively upgraded gameplay.
Better run flawless. Perfect first-person shooter mechanics, all that stuff, a really cool sci-fi story, and go. To me, it's not too hard to do, but you know.
And it's just,
I think it feels like they're struggling because it feels like a lot of the games just don't have any real fucking direction.
And how do you make it not feel like Halo? Like, and
I think it'd be easy based on just with locations
and
having gadgets and stuff like that. That would make it feel not.
I almost would rather, because think about all the first-person games, single-player focused, like adventure games. I feel like there's not a lot in the first-person genre. I almost feel like it'd be safer bet to do a third-person.
I need bigger budget ones now.
They'd have more options for gameplay. They got more gameplay options that way.
I think
third-person ain't going to like, you know, first-person shooter modes and mechanics, stuff like that.
It's just jarring that they seem that like we can't seem to go like a string of just.
And then they threw out the first quadruple A studio claim and stuff, and it's like
they need to stop talking.
Wait till the game comes out.
I want them. If let the game speak for itself.
And then
the game is amazing, then you can talk your shit. Don't talk your shit in the game.
I don't want to hear that shit.
Because Active Gamer Life in 2021 holiday. No, it was early 2021. Phil said the game was playable at home on his Series X.
Yeah,
in 2020 holiday.
One room of the game, okay, sure.
And he was confident that in one of the last videos of his I watched, he was confident that could have been out in 2021. Kind of like we were saying with Tears of the Kingdom. We're trying to break it down. We didn't know that was the name. Hey, it's a sequel. They're using the same assets, you know, same game engine. Maybe it could be out this year, you know. But to be like nowhere near, I don't think they're going to be like, this end of the year, Perfect Dark. You know, there's no chance. And I think they're almost going to be afraid to even give dates for like Forza Motorsports, Hellblade. I almost feel like if they're not.
My problem is that we haven't had dates. We still
Forza needs a date. Forza needs a date.
Yeah, there's no way you put.
You can't go through that showcase and not have a date for Forza at this point.
That's a scary situation. If you can't put a date on Forza, people are like.
Remember, I mean, let's not think that.
We know it's coming this year. We know it. I mean,
the problem is that Xbox hasn't put dates on a lot of this shit. Recently?
Was it 2013? The one came out. The first Forza Motorsports was just a port of the previous one, and it had 100 high detailed cars. The rest were still the 360 car models. And it's like, yeah, those games, I mean, that's a lot of work, do these high detailed cars and stuff. But if the Forza Horizon series can do multiple games in one generation, and then who, like we were saying earlier, that's a racing sim. Like, that's not even gonna be. Let's forget Game Pass. Let's say Game Pass doesn't exist. Forza Motorsports isn't gonna sell like 10 million copies more than likely. It wouldn't have. Like, that's just not.
Wouldn't sell that off Game Pass.
Maybe back in the heyday of racing games, but it's just
mid to late 2000s.
Like with fighting games, eventually, certain genres just they're not the main thing anymore. Even first person shooters aren't, like, you can't just put out a first person shooter and assume it's going to be huge.
Street Fighter 5 somehow sold 7 million units. What the fuck?
6 looks great, but I played the demo and it's like, yeah, that it's a solid game, but it's a 1-on-1 fighting game. So even if we all had it, like, there's not going to be like.
How many of those millions were at $20 a pop? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure it's after the discount where it sold the most.
So I think there's a lot of pressure on this showcase. I wonder what they're changing. I wonder if they're like scrambling right now to, like, all right, we got to make after Phil just said that. All right, we have to take this out now. We got to tweak this. We got to. No,
we got to knock it out of the box.
We can't use that PC footage anymore. Let's, so, and then they're having a Starfield Direct afterwards, so it's separate.
Right. Starfield's going to be its own thing.
And so, I give myself a little pat on the back when they showed that, gave it a release date. Was that the same year or the year before? I think 2021.
When it was supposed to come out?
Well, when we saw it the first time. Was that last year's E3 or the year before?
It was last year's E3.
My first reaction was, that game looks early still. Like, it looks like they're far from done. That was my first immediate impression, and obviously it wasn't done. I don't know that my assessment.
The frame rate, I think, gave it away for everybody.
Yeah, it just didn't look like it was like it was coming out the same year. Psychonauts 2 came out a year or two ago.
I think it was presented pretty well for,
It wasn't a terrible presentation, but I didn't see anything like for me, like gameplay wise, that looked exciting, and it looked kind of unpolished at the time. So, like if how many E3s now, going back to doing this podcast for Xbox, if we're like,
wait till E3.
They just gotta deliver. Give me, like Terrell, give me a reason to buy the Xbox One. Show me a reason to buy the Xbox One. We showed 50 games. 45 of them were multi-plats that are gonna, unfortunately for them, we're gonna probably sell better on the other platforms. That that's just what it was. That's what their E3s were.
Like, when he made the point of saying that they're going in a different direction, I'm just like, okay, cool, but like the Game Pass route, which is fine, that just means I have more ways of playing your games on different consoles. But I guess my issue is I kind of wish it more related to quality game releases. And granted, based on the showcase, we'll have a clearer idea of whether or not that's true. But it just feels like major Xbox releases for a while, I probably would say for at least a console generation at this point, has felt like very shitty. Like, that's like when like I remember when they first announced like State of Decay 3, and I was like, do you remember the state of the second game, guys? like who the fuck is it? And it was like so close to right after the second game it just came out, and all the bugs and glitches and everything was talking about. And I was just like, I don't think y'all understand like excitement, because I'm not getting excited for. It's like them announcing Crackdown 4, and
I was just gonna use that as an example.
And people were like, "Dude, do you remember what you did to the last game? Like, what the fuck?" Like, it feels like it's hard for me to get excited for shit when your track record has consistently shown me you're either insanely hit and miss or just bad for certain IPs, and it carries on the idea that as soon as some shit goes to Microsoft, it's about to turn the shit. That's what it feels like. And that may not, and I know it's not the case for everything, but that's the feeling you get because it keeps happening too fucking consistently. Even if it's not every game, it's too fucking, like, you can't go at least a year or two. I mean, not a year, but you can't even go like a couple game releases without being like, oh, here we go. We're about to get that meddling review score on some shit. Nah, I don't know. It just, if they're gonna be different, be fucking different, but put out some quality shit. I guess is my issue.
And
well, they have been very different than what you expect from Microsoft. I mean, shit like Sea of Thieves and fucking Grounded. That's shit that Microsoft would never have done before. So I applaud them for that. Even fucking Super Lucky's Tale, Ori's, and your Cuphead. That's not Microsoft. But that is Microsoft now. So I applaud that shit. But now you got to get your triple A's right.
I think that's really what it is. You don't
right.
None of your heavy hitters have been like what they
right.
need to be.
And it goes back to the evolving the franchises. Like Gears 5 talked about all this different stuff, but you're still ground rumbles and they come out of the ground and you kill them and then you hear and you know
we don't know that
cleared that
we
section.
don't know that yet. We know that about 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
For whatever the next one is, you got to fucking reinvent this game. It has to be reinvented at this point. You can't just do the same shit. Yeah, well, look how pretty it looks. So what? It's still the same shit.
It's still running to cover. Like, I mean, you got to like God of War still to me has aspects that feel very much like the original, but give me a 3D camera.
They reinvented it.
And it worked. Nintendo Breath of the Wild. Like,
I don't care for it as much. That's me. But obviously everybody else loved it.
The issue is that they were willing to try to be different.
I will say, going back to play 1 after Ragnarok, it felt very tedious trying to get, like, I look at the map and it's like, hey, you're 50% completion in this area, and I want to find all the shit. Well, in the second game, it just flows better. It's the backtracking and collecting stuff. It's designed better. Going back to the first game, I'm like, I got lost like a couple times right after I played Ragnarok. I'm like, where the fuck am I? Where do I go? Like, I'm trying to find this.
It's a super linear ass game,
and it's like, it's just the level design wasn't that good. But anyway, that's sidetrack.
Yeah. The core thing is, if they want to go the Sony route where you reinvent IPs or you cut off your old ones and you focus on new ones, and you can do that, or you can go back the Nintendo route where you hold on to your core IPs and you expand upon them and reinvent them to reintroduce to the public, evolution and whatnot. My problem is you gotta do something, because what we're getting now is like a little bit of both and nothing's really working out. Like, you're still holding on to your old IPs in the form of Halo and Forza, but neither, unfortunately, are hitting the high marks as their predecessors have. And then you're introducing your new stuff for RedFALL, but that shit's not sticking for various reasons. Granted, that one's a little bit more of a issue with the studio itself and a lack of passion. But the problem is that new IPs, these things don't need to be dead on arrival like this. Like, this is horrifying. This is horrifying.
So
like,
what?
Are you excited for RedFALL? And then they'll be the same company like next month, be like, RedFALL 2's coming out in 2026, and you're like,
there he is.
What if?
Look, Muhammad's here. It'll make the doom and gloom crowd see the light. Like, one, I do agree. Well, he said multiple great games. One great game, yeah, that's a good start. That's not gonna fix all the problems or issues. That's not gonna give confidence that all the other games are gonna be there, like, and be good.
As Wii U fans, we know that wait till Mario Kart 8 comes out. It's gonna turn around the Wii U's fortunes.
That 2.5 years into the console, you're relying on one game to like
save you,
like to save. Like, I mean, it's just a tough situation. It's a lot of pressure on Starfield that necessarily isn't the fault of Starfield. It's the fault of everything else. Here's the question I've been trying to ask this for like the last half hour. What do you think the splitting the Series X and S up? Do you feel like that maybe was at this point, do you feel that was a good idea or a bad idea right now? I don't know the breakdown of sales.
I don't know.
I like the
I think there's
aspect.
more S's that are sold.
I like the aspect that you take the X's CPU, you have a few bad cores, you can just disable the next 5 or whatever, and then you have the CPU for the Series S. I like that because otherwise you just the scrap. It's just a lot of waste when it comes to CPUs, and in that I don't think they can salvage. They just throw the whole thing away. I don't think there's any recycling. It's just trash. I like that part of it, but at the same time, it's too different. Between Series S, you got no disk drive and significantly less power, and then you have the X with the disk drive and the more power. I've been saying this from the beginning. Whether it's true, it's just my feelings. Series S with a disk drive to me makes it more appealing, or do the PlayStation route and just have a diskless Series X for 400 and not have the Series S. I don't know. It's hard to say. I just feel like having that split user base. Yeah, the games. There hasn't been too many games that just are terrible on the Series S. In some cases, the Series S version runs better because of the lower resolution.
Honestly, I think if it hurts anything, it hurts optimization for the X. If anything, because Series S games seem to run fine for what they're supposed to run, and the X doesn't seem to get where it needs to be.
Well, I feel like they're pushing the 4K a little too hard on the X. Where Series S, that 1440p, that's like 2 games. Like it's like a 1080p machine, And some games, I remember Digital Foundry did one. I forget which game it was. Might have been Elden Ring. I don't remember. It was down to like the 900p, 800p range, and yeah, I think the Series X, they're just too focused on the locked 4K, like RedFALL. That doesn't need to be native 4K. Like, I mean, look at Returnal. That runs natively at 1080, upscaled using some kind of reconstruction to 1440, and then output your PS5 up converts it to 4K, and it looks a really good looking game considering the native resolution. So I feel like
clearly the priorities for RedFALL were all messed up.
Yeah.
When it comes to that game, clearly their priorities are all screwed
There's
up.
no reason that game should be 30 on the Series. There's no situation unless the people programming just don't know the engine and they don't know how to get anything out of it, because the Switch, you would think, would be able to run a version of RedFALL or something, a similar looking game than RedFALL at 30,
Yeah.
Obviously lower resolution, but
obviously it won't look it'll look something like Wolfenstein.
Mm-hmm.
It'll look like a Wolfenstein type, or a Doom.
I'd say Doom Eternal looked, because of the color palette and stuff, it was a little more noticeable, I felt, in the videos I've seen of the Switch version. I think Wolfenstein always looked like, dang, especially in handheld, I imagine
it looks pretty good.
Wolfenstein would look pretty damn good. And it's like, I don't know, I just feel like having the two systems might have been the wrong decision.
Yeah. I think the S is selling more, and I think it was a good decision, mostly a good decision, because everybody else outside of you guys and whatnot that I know who has an Xbox, it's the Series S.
Yeah, I think Kid and Krista both have the S.
Yeah, I talked to my brother today. I didn't even know he played Xbox. He was like, "Oh, you play Xbox?" I was, "Yeah, what you got?" I got a Series S. Everybody I know who has an Xbox,
but a lot of that was the one that was available early on. You could find
I see X's right now. I see them sitting.
But I still
now
I've seen I've seen them before Christmas, but I've seen stacks and stacks of Series S's, and only.
I think even if it was as available, I think even if the Series X was as available, I still think it wouldn't have sold as well as you having an S.
Yeah. I think the problem with that though is
we'll dip with the S. Oh, I'm gonna put that in this room, because it's cheap enough to where you might want to do that. So I think that's why it sells.
It does send a little mixed messaging though, because hey, we're the world's most powerful console, and then hey, we're also the weakest,
the least powerful console this generation.
Here's your budget. Here's your budget, buddy. Like the fuck.
And once
it's a little weird,
and it's like, I don't know how the PS5 digital.
That's the Game Pass box. That's the Game Pass move. That box is.
I seen in Japan though, the disc PS5 is definitely way outselling the discless version, which seems.
You know why? Because they actually have them in stores.
Yeah.
Sony did not care about that discless one. If you want to buy it, yeah, sure, we got a couple for you. But I've never seen that in the wild ever. I've never seen a discless PS5 anywhere.
I actually haven't either.
I don't even see a PS5 in the wild period currently.
Oh, I see PS5s.
Yeah, but for a while they're always at Best Buy. So Muhammad listed like 4 games in the past 2 years that got good scores. One's was a start launched on PS4 day and date, which wasn't their fault because they bought the studio after the game was far along.
See.
They already had a deal. But yeah, Forza Horizon 5, that's a great game.
Yeah, we all know that.
That's like if Nintendo just their best game was like Metacritic wise was Mario Kart 9 on like the Switch 2. Like you don't want that to be your highest.
I disagree. I don't, because Mario Kart 9 would get way more fanfare.
It would have a lower score, but it would sell more. But I'm saying, is your highest rated game is your racing game? Then I think that's kind of a
that's
kind of point.
It's also like to me that's kind of a, unfortunately that list that Muhammad gave is kind of a weak list anyway because it feels like you're only the only I would say big budget one of that 4. Well, I don't want to downplay Psychonauts because Psychonauts 2 is a beautiful game.
Great, but it's not
it's like a niche title.
And they bought that after it was crowdfunded and they had a deal with like.
No, they funded a lot of that game. They did. Microsoft did.
Oh, that's right, because it was a few years after that it came out. Yeah, Matthew. But, I mean, Forza Horizon 5 was fun until I was like, yeah, I've done this all before. Like I always said, Mario Kart. I wouldn't want to play 2 Mario Karts in a generation. Like that to me would just kind of be boring. Like, wow, what can they do? What new can they bring to the table? And it's kind of you could say, well,
yeah, I mean, you can even throw Pentiment on that list because that got high ratings as well. But again, we're talking about small ass games. What are the big budget crowd movers?
Where's the?
I love Hi-Fi Rush. I think it's a fantastic freaking game. If it was on Dreamcast, like that would be a top tier game on the Dreamcast. But unfortunately, we're in a couple generations later from that, and then so it's not that anymore. But it is fantastic. I love it.
Is Grounded in anything other than multiplayer? Is it like a Fortnite thing where there's no single player?
There is. I mean, I guess. No, it's all online, so I guess there isn't like a single player.
And that's fine. If that like caught fire like Fortnite or something, that would be huge for them,
Yeah,
but
it's very popular. It's similar to what Sea of Thieves does. It's a co-op online.
Lelouch. None of them mentioned are system sellers. That's the problem.
No,
yeah,
not even Forza, which is an awesome game. It is a AAA.
So
game.
Here's just me. I'm just gonna brainstorm here. You take Gears and you evolve it. You revolutionize it. You use the name, use some characters, but you completely find a way to refresh that series. Then you find either a studio or some one of your 30 studios to do something along the lines of a Ghost of Tsushima, something that's out of nowhere, that doesn't have to be. If those games like scored 80 to 90, then you're doing good. Then you have, okay, now we're gonna have, let's just completely hypothetical situation. All right, now we got our Forza Motorsports, new Forza Motorsports. All right, people know that. And then you follow it up. Here's Hi-Fi Rush, and then you're like, oh, here's this other new thing you didn't know you even wanted. Like here's I don't know what Marvel or DC properties are out there, just out of nowhere. Who was asking for a new Spider-Man game when Sony was like, they just all of a sudden there's a trailer. Like, I don't think people were like, man, I really wish there was a new Spider-Man game. I love those games. No one was asking for that. And then all of a sudden here you go. Now it's one of their big hitters for slated this year, I guess. The second game, I have no idea. I haven't heard anything or seen anything. I guess it's supposed to come out this year, but all of a sudden Spider-Man's a big IP for Sony. I know they've owned the movie rights forever, but they gotta try to find some way to have new exciting games. Not Quantum Break was a good idea. They got hired Remedy, solid game. I think their control was way better, but something like that. They need more third party deals to like. I know it's multiplayer now, but like Near Automata, like something. Take a company, a developer, like they did with what's it called, Sunset Overdrive. Now obviously they can't work with Insomniac anymore, but have somebody make a game for you and make sure that you give them all the resources so that the game comes out polished and is what they just designed, or their ideas they had for the game. Don't let it go astray. And with your Avoweds, with your Hellblade 2s, those games need to come out. They need to deliver, but they also could have other things like you don't want to just have your version of a Tomb Raider or an Uncharted. You can't just try to make that formula as an Xbox generic IP out of nowhere, but it plays like Horizon. You don't want to just copy other games like that. So it's not easy. Coming up with a new idea is not easy. So what's Ultimate Destruction?
Hulk came on PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. I mean, it was a phenomenal Hulk
take
game.
A movie IP and that no one thought could be made into a game. I know, like I said, this isn't easy stuff. It's just like you got to find ways to get outside of Halo and Forza and Gears, but be bigger than the Hi-Fi Rushes, the Pentiments.
Sony, if they're lucky, they release 2 big games a year. They go out and they get deals, to make it look like games that are third party are theirs. Hello, Final Fantasy 16.
Well,
right.
To be fair, I've heard rumors that that I think Sony wants to buy them, or Square wants Sony to buy them. One or the other.
I heard Square wants Sony to buy them.
That's what it is.
That's why they're complying and basically saying no to Xbox for anything at this point.
Yeah, so I very much feel like that's a which I really don't want to happen because I
don't want that to happen.
Yeah, because if Spider-Man 2 doesn't make it out this year, I mean, Insomniac's pretty good at delivering, and I think
it'll make it.
I think Spider-Man will be the only.
I think it's a detriment that Insomniac puts out so many damn games, because I just feel like they don't focus enough on the gameplay aspect. But that's it. I mean, Final Fantasy 16 and Spider-Man 2. I mean, I don't think there's anything else that we know about.
Not anything major.
Is that Project Eve, whatever the new name is, Stellar Blade, is that supposed to be out this year?
I don't think not this year. I think it's next year.
Yeah, early 2024.
I mean,
Microsoft does make these deals too, but those freaking games ain't out yet. Unfortunately,
with Microsoft, a lot of it's been the waiting game.
Yeah,
it's been this long waiting game.
Punisher could be. The show was surprisingly amazing, so. I don't know what the answer is. I was just kind of spitballing. Like, you could say, they're just copying Sony. Then, well, that's not in a way copying Sony. It's just try to come up with new, great IPs, or maybe it's just a one-off. It doesn't have to be a franchise.
Question: How long has it been since Gears 5?
Indiana Jones coming. Who's
Again,
making Indiana Jones? And how many years away is it?
I remember, but where is it? Like, I love Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones,
like all of them.
I didn't even know that was a game.
I forgot about Indiana, to be honest. Yeah. They teased that last year or showed a
reveal. Did they? I completely forgot about that.
I could be wrong.
I barely remember that at all.
So here's the thing, though. Since Muhammad's here, Nintendo knew the Wii U was failing. They still put out games in 2016, but they shifted Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, for sure. Who knows what ARMS, if ARMS was even ever going to be a.
But 2017 was a pretty good year.
Oh, yeah, no.
Splatoon 2, Xenoblade.
You got to admit,
came out the first year.
Nintendo had that 2018 where it was Super Mario Party, Mario Golf, Mario Tennis. Sorry, Mario Tennis and Smash. That was the lightest year. 2020 wasn't exactly packed. You had Animal Crossing.
which was perfect timing.
Yeah, but what else was there? Like
other than that,
there was some ports. Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, maybe.
Hold on, I'm checking right now.
2020.
Hold on, let me see.
I think so.
Probably. Yeah, I think it was.
I think we had a couple things. Let me see.
So it's not like that Nintendo hit the ball rolling, but they made sure their first year was stacked, and Xbox didn't do that. It was the second
had
year.
the Xenoblade, a bunch of definitive.
Oh yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in the first year.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah, Xenoblade 2. That was in
barely made it, but it made it.
You could not buy a Switch at that point. Like
actually, you had a lot of ports. Oh no, Paper Mario was 2020. Paper Mario Origami King was.
That was 2020.
Yeah, that was the other 2020.
It's
2020 was the year of or 2018 was the year of the ports. 2020 had
2020. No, 2020 had ports. Like
had the All-Star collection, didn't it? Or was that 21?
Yeah, All-Star, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Pikmin 3, where's the other one? Shit, I just saw it. Oh, the Xenoblade 1.
Yep, Xenoblade remake.
How well the Tokyo Mirage Sessions
jeez.
And then
who remembers
and then and the Mystery Dungeon game. That was all 2020.
Damn.
Trash.
So yeah, Nintendo didn't have the best years.
No.
But their main thing,
they had the gimmick, if you will, of console gaming on the go. So they had that to prop them up.
Well, yeah, and the other thing too is, what was 2020? A bunch of ports, and also, hey, a 40 million selling game, 40 million units in Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way,
and the other thing is that that was
just kept selling. Like
here's my thing. That was a weak year compared to what we had just got in 2019, which was fucking nuts.
Luigi's Mansion, Link's Awakening.
Fucking, that's when
Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah, that's when Sword and Shield came out.
Like Retro is probably asking right now, how does he know what games came out that year?
How do you guys remember all these dates?
But see, that's important. The thing is, like, you can have a rough year if you got a strong year backing or coming afterwards.
That was Age of Calamity too, then.
It was Age of Calamity. The problem with Xbox is we don't have like a one great year and then one mediocre year. We've been getting a bunch of like what the fuck is this year
of just nothing?
Yeah, like you can't do that. You gotta at least give me a.
Because honestly, by the time some of these games come out, it's gonna be damn near the end of the generation.
Yeah,
and it hasn't even started. It doesn't even feel like it started yet.
Because we're on the third year for both of these, for PS5 and Xbox Series, right?
That's crazy.
I've had my PS5 for 2 years already.
Regardless of how things are selling, this is the worst start to a generation I can remember in my entire life.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, actually. It doesn't feel like it's started yet. That's the main problem.
Yeah, that's the main issue.
It feels like we're still waiting for it to start. Like, even PlayStation's had a couple of quality titles, but I'm like, damn, we're still.
It's just. I mean, I understand COVID had a lot to do.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm not gonna act like it's completely on those companies, but it also feels kind of jarring. Where I'm like, damn, I'm glad I'm a Switch owner, low key, because I would have been pissed. I'm like, bruh, what is any of this shit, dog? And if you're an Xbox fan, you were struggling.
You got a console just came out and you got no new game with it. What? How does that happen?
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
You release a console, it doesn't have any new what do you call that? System seller or nothing.
Yeah, system seller. There was no killer app whatsoever.
No killer app. That's what I was looking for.
And now I've had mine since I think I've almost had it a year now. I think I bought it around summer last year, and I have 4 games on this bitch. 4 or 5.
If I didn't want to upgrade because I had the VCR Xbox One,
and
if I didn't have all those Xbox games, I was like, oh, it's cool to bring all that over and play it better and all that stuff. If it wasn't for that, I would not be owning this bitch right now.
Mohammed's on his shit, man. That's the other thing I wanted to bring up was the 12-month thing last year. 37 of 57 games promised. So promising third-party games now counts?
Yeah, that's not an accomplishment.
Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, that's not an accomplishment.
How many Xbox games that they had control over? Not just, hey, Elden Ring came out or whatever. We showed Elden Ring and it came out. Like, that kind of stuff. if you're counting that, then you already know that you have nothing. If you have to include those,
a
bunch of third party multi-plat style games. What was the core games? Starfield, Redfall, Forza. Those were the 3 that highlighted their 12-month thing.
And out of those 3, one came out and it came out as ass.
And it might as well not have come out.
That's nothing to celebrate.
We're still waiting on the other 2.
We ain't celebrating that. No, we're not doing this.
Even though people think Starfield's gonna come out good, that is not a confirmed.
Yeah, 37 of the 50 were all multiplayer. None of the, well, I guess Starfield.
Come on, Muhammad, we ain't doing this. We can't. We don't have to do this. We don't got to do this.
Why y'all playing like this, bro?
Machine Games was great work with Wolfenstein. I mean, it's definitely a lower tier series compared to like Doom and stuff.
I want Indiana Jones to be a 7.5 or 8. That's all I need from Indiana Jones. Because, like I said, none of their games are great. None of the Indiana Jones have been great, but they've been good.
That's a game where they could just say, all right, we're going to take some inspiration from Uncharted as much as it...
Exactly. That's what you do. Which is weird because...
Uncharted is...
Lara Croft Tomb Raider basically, aped off of Indiana Jones. And Lara Croft Tomb Raider was aped off by Uncharted, which the new Indiana Jones should ape off Uncharted. And
you don't need the running towards the camera scripted stuff. Just make a really fun,
a good game. Goddammit,
with some good puzzle solving stuff. Like that's the kind of good adventure.
Like what was that one on the original Xbox? That one was really good. Can't remember the name of it. Something of the Tomb or Tomb.
You know
something.
What? We're gonna end this podcast on a happy note. I just want to say by the next podcast, next week's Monday podcast, we're all gonna have hands-on Tears of the Kingdom impressions.
Oh,
my son will have hands-on Tears of the Kingdom.
T's son will have hands-on. I have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off, so if anybody can do the podcast earlier so we can get clocked it on, I want to hear his thoughts. How many hours gonna have in that damn game?
What time?
I'm not sure. Probably 2 hours early.
Oh, 2 hours. Yeah. Oh yeah, 5 then.
So yeah, the next time we're on this podcast, we'll be playing a new mainline Zelda game. Not no spin-off, not no little multiplayer thing. Just a big, major Zelda game, and it's hard to believe. Like it doesn't even hit me yet, really.
Speaking of Zelda game, some people may not know this. Right now, you can go and download I guess you would call it a D-make of, is it Zelda's Adventures for the CDI? It's available for your Game Boy or your Game Boy emulator. So that's out there. Yeah. It looks pretty cool. A terrible game, and in the history of that Nintendo would like to forget, is actually now good. Is a good Game Boy game. So check it out.
That actually makes way more sense.
That's what's beautiful about this generation right now is we can have things like that come out made by fans. I mean, that's
hey man, listen, I'm still cracking up at D-Make Bloodborne cart. Someone someone made that bitch a Mario Kart clone, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Why did y'all do this?
It's a beautiful time.
What are you? Terrell, is that why you've been streaming so much? You trying to finish some games or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Fucking Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, it's a lot. Nintendo had to oh man, y'all ain't got nothing else to play. Bitch, fuck you. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's when I started. I was like, yeah, they're not talking about Nintendo. Imagine they're like, oh, Xbox doesn't have their God of War. Well, what about their Fire Emblem or their Xenoblade or their, what else did Nintendo put out? Advance Wars 1 and 2 remakes, and now Zelda. It's like, in 5 months?
4 in about 2 months. Like, what the fuck? Like,
nobody's serving like Nintendo right now. Nobody.
It's over here chilling. Nintendo fans just eating. Like,
eating over here.
Hey, man.
Listen to this guy. Oh, that'll be great. Stay tuned for Star. I mean, it's Bethesda.
Oh,
it's gonna be.
Mohammed.
It's gonna be that if you really like the Bethesda style.
Why you playing? Mohammed?
When do you think we're gonna get Zelda reviews? Now I think about it, we're gonna get those
Thursday or Friday.
Yeah,
I'd say Thursday. Not because there's an embargo, but I think people need time to finish the game. So I'm on Android, you swipe left and you get you get like this feed,
like the news feed.
There's a lot of bullshit in there. So it was like The Gamer, I think's the name of the website, and the headline was, "I finally get it," quotations, with Breath of the Wild. All right, I'm curious. Click on it. Yeah, so watching the Tears of Kingdom, I can't help but get hyped. I got chills. I'm so hyped. So I finally figured I better give Breath of the Wild a second chance. Last year, I booted it up. I put 10 hours into the game, and I didn't get the hype. I didn't get it. I didn't understand from a casual or from a gamer, hardcore gamer. I don't understand this game. So I'm all hyped. So I was like, I finally get it. I've been losing sleep. I've been playing it. I have 30 hours in the game now, and I beat 3 Divine Beasts, and I'm racing to get to the end so I can play Tears of the Kingdom on Friday. I was like, bro, you still don't get it, Breath of the Wild. If you thought that's what getting Breath of the Wild is rushing through the main story stuff, then you don't get it.
You're missing 30 hours.
He goes, I can't believe I'm about to, I can't believe I was picking up a 50-hour game. And I can't imagine casuals wanting to play tens of hours of a game. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
yeah, that's a weird statement. The fuck?
That's so weird.
I didn't even want to share.
You know how much time
people
people spend on fucking GTA? The fuck?
Yes, exactly. You know how much time people put into these big casual games? How many hundreds of hours, thousands of hours? Are you serious? Are you serious?
Motherfuckers are stupid, yo.
Muhammad, a delayed game isn't eventually good if it's called RedFALL. Oh,
that is true. Because then it's just a failure.
That makes it even worse when you delay it. So
Daddy Spencer told you it wasn't gonna ever be good.
If you delayed it a further 5 years, it probably would have been good.
If you started over. So yeah, it's weird. I have a thing, we mentioned this before. People pretend to be excited, and I still haven't finished.
It's so lame. It's
like, so you're caught up in the hype. You played Breath of the Wild for 10 hours and you didn't get it. Obviously, you don't
10 hours.
You don't get. That's barely the plateau for some people. That's I probably spent.
But no, I would think 10 hours would be more than enough to get it.
You would think.
Actually, it would be.
If somebody like Gab Smolder said, she admitted in her last, I don't think I talked, but she did her last video. She ranked it. It's top 3 for her now. It was her least favorite. She struggled to not put it ahead of her. She goes, it might just be nostalgia, but I think Ocarina and Majora's Mask are ahead of it. But that's probably because the N64 was my first system, and I have so many fond memories of playing those 2 games. But she couldn't deny that, objectively speaking, it's an amazing game. It's probably the better game, but for her, the Zelda games, it's probably third on her favorites. But she said, I just completely played it wrong the first time. I missed it. I didn't understand. I just tried to view it. Why isn't this like this from this Zelda game? Why isn't like other Zelda games, and didn't enjoy it. And then just had to admit that in her mind, she didn't say that she played it wrong. She said, what was the phrase? It was very close. She didn't use the word wrong, because Robert hates when I say that.
What, different?
No, it's a version of wrong. She just basically she said she finally played it properly. That's what she said.
Yeah, well, that was her words then.
Yeah, finally played it properly. So, and that I don't want to see people playing Tears of the Kingdom and like trying to do the same thing. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. You want to buy the game or get it, download or get a code, get a review copy, have one of your followers buy the game for it. I don't care. Play it however you want. Just don't try to say that you don't get it or it's not worth the hype and all that.
It's a giant sandbox with monsters and what is there not to get? I don't
know.
It's not deep.
If you're heading towards
yourself, have fun.
If you see this bird up in the sky and you're like, man, I'm curious about that. But on your way there, you see a hill. You go climb up the hill. Oh, I see some ruins up here. Oh, there's a shrine. Oh, that's a major test of strength. Oh, there's a memory up here. Oh, there's Korok. Oh, there's a tower. Oh, there's a great fairy fountain. If you're not doing that, then yeah, I mean, you don't get it. Like, the whole point is, obviously you can play it however you want, but they put so much emphasis into making things draw your attention. If you're not getting distracted by doing a bunch of side stuff, then I mean, why even hurry into play Tears of the Kingdom at that point? It's just, like, what's your hurry to get?
Hurry to get the clout, to
Mm-hmm.
get people watching you, because everybody's gonna be streaming Tears of the Kingdom. That's what it is. It's strictly for YouTube. It's not for you, the gamer. So.
Yeah, I stopped watching one of my favorite streamers. She tried it a second time and was doing the same thing, straight lining. She had 8 hearts and beat 3 divine beasts. Well, she had 9 after the 3rd divine beast. I'm like, I don't even know if I did the first divine beast with 9 hearts. I know I'm different. I played it differently. Like Retro played it differently, and I don't. Shadow Fox. Remember, he didn't even want to beat the game.
The first divine beast, I might have had
Retro wouldn't beat the fucking
5 stars,
game.
maybe 6 or 5.
But he wanted to argue about how it was. Oh my lord.
And I did. I got Rivali's Gale first, which helped with the rest. But yeah, like Sandstorm's buddy, he's trying to convince his buddy Vito to convince him to play Breath of the Wild based on all this footage and stuff. He says, I don't know, I'm not gonna. I said, don't even bother. Don't play the game. If you're seeing this and hearing all this and you're like, yeah, I don't know, then don't play the game. You don't have to play the game. Don't feel bad about not playing the game.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah, like it's not a big deal.
I'm not gonna try to convince you to play Breath of the Wild with that. I'm just gonna with that attitude.
Yeah. If you've seen it and it doesn't move you, then
whether you're
rock
like,
on.
I could argue like, hey, it's just not that person's thing, whoever it is. But at the same time, if you're like, say you're trying to find reasons to play it, then I think you're already coming at it from the wrong perspective. Right. Like, I at some point I was like, you know what? I want to try God of War. I want to try Spider-Man. I want to try Days Gone. I want to play them for myself. And some with varying degrees of success, but I still played through them and finished them, and then I have my opinion on them. I'd still like I
finished Kano. Woo!
Did you? There's some tough ass fights in that game.
There's some tough boss battles in it. I played it on the second to highest.
I think I might have just played it on the default, and there's some boss fights that were like, damn, that's hard.
Tough. And the final boss with the tiered shit, that was an amazing final boss battle. I was not expecting that.
That was cool. What about that when you're in that like underground area and there's like the waves of like this dark
matter? Oh yeah, that shit was cool as hell.
Dude, the sound of design in that,
I was playing it with headphones on. I was like, this
with
shit
my
is
5.1. Like I took videos. I'm just standing there in amazement. The sounds going by,
and it's like a really cool world mechanic. I was like, that's very cool.
And I mean, some really cool story stuff too.
The story of that game, heartbreaking, blown away. Loved it. It was way more because I was playing God of War at the same time in 2018, and I just said, "Sorry, God of War."
Kind of plays more like a Demon Souls, honestly.
Yeah, it does.
The dodge roll is not quite.
It's not as good. Not as tight. Yeah.
But just, I mean, yeah. I don't know the deal Sony made. I don't know if that studio went to them, if they tried to sell their game to help get support. Their first game, even a game to that caliber, I'd be like, dang, I might need to get a Series X, like.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
A really great art style, but getting back to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it's like, same thing happened with Horizon, like Prince Revolver. He beat it, boring Sony first IP. Horizon's just like, it's a lesser version of Breath of the Wild because there isn't that really great stuff to do in the world. There's not that eye-catching thing.
The best thing about Horizon is the combat.
Just fighting the robots and stuff is the highlight of the game.
Yeah.
I would say play. I don't know if you had the Ultimate Edition when it was available, where it has the DLC. The DLC gives you an idea what Forbidden West is going to be like. It's better at writing, better at voice acting. Similar mechanics, similar quests and stuff, but that's a game where if you just went like Forbidden West, I feel like if you just went story beat, there's a lot of really cool side quests in Forbidden West. It's not Breath of the Wild. It doesn't have these really cool things you're gonna encounter, but there is some really good content that you would miss if you skip through. I thought it was much better myself. I know I haven't heard an update, so I don't know if you stopped playing Forbidden West or what. But at least you beat Kana. That's cool.
Well, I'm gonna get back into Forbidden West now.
I've been really want. I really want.
I was playing too many big games at once. It's tough.
I want that DLC too. It's just bad timing. So yeah, but it's gonna be interesting to see like who's streaming Forbidden West and what types of people are playing it and like what kind of reception it's gonna get from all types of people. Like for me, somebody who's I probably put 10 to 20 hours in Breath of the Wild in the last couple weeks. Am I gonna be like, man, I just feel like I'm playing the same game again? You know, like obviously I don't think so.
Yeah, I haven't touched it in a long time. So
Retro's like, I didn't want to play it. He didn't want to get like he didn't want to. He flooded with Breath of the Wild right before Tears of the Kingdom. Here,
yeah.
I am 10 topaz away from having every outfit piece fully upgraded to the max at the ferry. I just need 10 more topaz. I got my 4 star fragments that I needed, and I just it
only took 6 years.
Yeah. So that's just an achievement for me. There's not going to be anything pop up when I do it. I have all the one of everything that's available gear, like shirts, hats, wear leggings, whatever you want to call it, pants. They're not all pants, but I have them all max upgraded. Well, all but one now, and for me, that's an accomplishment. Something I wanted to have done before Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm pretty.
Does
excited.
it have New Game Plus?
No,
I didn't think so.
It just starts from your previous save file before you fought Ganon. So then you can go do more shrines or whatever.
Right.
Yep. So Terrell, you got some grinding to do. You better. What game do you think you can finish before Friday?
Oh God, I don't fucking know. It's too much, dude.
You're not even close in Elden Ring, based on what I saw.
I'm like halfway.
Did you even
when people were telling me I'm halfway?
Is there anything burning yet for you in the environment, like in the sky? Anything?
No.
Okay, yeah, you're not even halfway then.
Okay.
You're probably close, but
yeah, people were saying I'm like 45% in. That's what people were telling me, and I was like, "Fuck you."
You're pretty high level for being that.
Really? I'm at like 80, I think. 80 something?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember where I was at that point, but so Fire Emblem, any chance of that being beat?
Fire Emblem, I'm like I have like 6, I think 5 or 6 chapters left from what people were telling me.
Did you play Metroid Prime? I don't even remember.
No, hell no. You wouldn't hell. I didn't even pick up Octopath 2 yet. The fuck, it was a lot.
Oh shit, I haven't gotten that either.
Yeah, Nintendo didn't know how to chill the fuck out. Like they thought, I bought Advance Wars. That bitch is still in its wrapping. Fucking assholes.
What's that other game you have in the wrappers? To Mario Golf or tennis or whatever?
It's Mario. It's
Golf.
probably Mario Golf. I think it's golf.
Why did you keep that? Why didn't you take it back?
Because it's too late. I already own it. I wish I actually, if anything, I wish I had bought it.
It's too late, man.
It's too late. I'm trying to be like T, bro. I'm trying to be like T, okay?
Oh, that game is not going up in price.
Hey, shut up, bro. Shut up. Listen. But yeah, Resident Evil, I'm only on chapter 9, I believe. So
I forget how many. Is there 14?
Yeah, I think it's 14. 14 or 15 from what people were telling me. So
I'll just say that Ashley, they didn't skimp on the polygons. I'll just say that.
You said that last week.
I said it last night in the chat.
That's what it was. Cause I remember you saying
they did not skimp on the polygons.
It's like that's not the first time I've heard you say that. Bro, look at them polygons.
You want to hear something funny?
Damn, she looking political.
So if you go to the 3D, if you unlock the 3D models for Ada and Ashley, Ashley has physics in one area and Ada has physics in the other.
As long as Ada doesn't talk, then I'm fine.
Ada's physics are all in the behind, and
don't talk, girl. Just
as long as Ada keep a motherfucking mouth shut.
It's just funny because they both have like similar size, but there's no physics in Ada's chest. But in her, it's just a weird. All you got to do is just move the fucking. You just move the camera around, and then you see the physics, and I'm like, oh.
I saw T's face, and it was over.
I missed it.
T's face fucked me up. I glanced over. He was like,
So Muhammad, you know, enjoy Tears of the Kingdom on Friday. It'll be
on your Xbox, right?
It'll
No,
be the best.
$70 overpriced
It'll
game.
be the best game you play this year. I guarantee it.
That bitch is waiting for that. I'm just waiting for that check to go through. Talking about, hey, it already pre-downloaded on the Switch. I'm just waiting for that check to go through. That's it.
So yeah, we'll get out of here and we'll be back with hands-on impressions. I don't have the capabilities of streaming Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know if I would anyway, but enjoy everybody who's getting it.
You don't have a capture
I sold
card?
it. Remember, I made my money back then some. Sold it a few years later when they're in high demand during COVID.
Oh, okay.
Capture cards were hard to find, so I sold it more than I paid for it. Like
it was more than
later.
Webcams were hard as fuck too.
So yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy your Tears of the Kingdom, and we'll share some stories on Monday.
There could be so many puns with that title. I swear to God. People are like, I'm crying, dog. Look at Zelda.